So you can catch it, match it, stash it in the cabinet. Listen to the chorus while let Ivan scratch it. This is real hip hop, we aiming for a classic. And if we can't approach it, screw it, we'll attack it. Catch it, match it, stash it in the cabinet. Listen to the chorus while let Ivan. This is real hip hop, we aiming for a classic. And if we can't approach it, screw it, we'll attack it. What you know about classic music?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Retro Wrestling Review Series. Today we're going to cover WWE Royal Rumble 2011. So we're just jumping all over the place. We've done 2008, we've done 2000, now we're jumping to 2011. We're just going all over the place. We're not doing anything chronologically. What's chronologically? That's not how we roll on this show.
We have a chronological order? Hell no. We got a guest.
We're doing the Vince Russo style.
Well, first, we have one of the co-hosts who produces all my videos now, pretty much. And pretty soon we'll be producing even more of my non-wrestling videos and everything like that. I hope. James the He-Man Hebert, what's going on? How are you today? Even though today's just started for you.
Well, I got rice. I'm eating it.
There you go.
Okay. Man, this Rumble sucks on TV.
We'll talk about that later. We have next a person who's been a part of this channel for a while, and somehow this is his first retro. I don't even know how that's possible.
Yeah,
but
because I think this legitimately is your first retro because I've produced a lot of them.
Yeah, and you picked this retro today. Lachlan Rampage, the man with so many nicknames that we would probably be here another hour talking about him. Stephen Coakley, Steven Steiner, whatever you want to call yourself today.
You know, there's one you forgot. I've been practicing it just for you guys. The uncensored, unfiltered, unrated, and unadulterated sex bomb. Steve Steiner.
That's right. That's right.
That was the thing, yeah.
Good to be on this Rumble review. I'm definitely happy to be doing it. I was at that Rumble. Good to watch live. I watched it back, and I actually can understand where James is coming from. It's always important to watch events you see live back, especially with the help of the network or Peacock nowadays.
Yeah, well, for us, Peacock, because everywhere else. But
yeah, I mean,
everywhere else is still the network.
Hey, I used to think WrestleMania 27 wasn't that bad.
Oh,
yeah,
you used to.
That's gonna be a retro someday.
So it's funny because I watched this entire event with my dad and my uncle at my house.
Yeah.
So we watched it there at the old ass house, and you guys were there live. I think watching it with people around you makes this event instantly better.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I do a Rumble betting pool every year that makes the Rumble that much more fun.
Right.
I think that's gonna. James and I talked about this the last time. I picked Survivor Series 2013 as a retro because I'm like, okay, this show was good live. I hear it's not good on TV, but maybe I'll like it better when I go back and watch it. Where everyone, oh my gosh, does that show suck live?
Oh, my
I'm not
God.
live on TV. Like, it's so bad.
Yeah.
This is not Survivor Series 2013 levels of bad, but we'll talk about that. I think I talked about this too. The reason I didn't hate Survivor Series 2013 as much live is because all the matches I didn't want to see, I went to the concessions or the bathroom during those matches. So that's why I liked it better live. So
I spent part of the show in the parking lot convincing people who were selling knockoff shirts to sell them to me for less.
Yeah, there you go.
That was fun.
There you go. That's funny.
But all right, let's get to the reason. I think you kind of said why you picked this retro, but did you pick it because you were there live? Is that pretty much why you picked this retro?
Yeah, I was there live. Not only that, but they also we're the so far first and only to do a 40-man Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, they've had the 50-man Rumble in Saudi Arabia. Always mixed reactions when you're talking about the Saudi Arabia shows, but I've always been of a mindset of they have the roster size to do bigger Rumbles.
Mm-hmm.
They just plain and simple do. They have 30 guys on Raw that could fill the Rumble, 30 guys on SmackDown that could fill it, 30 guys from NXT that could fill it. So,
Especially,
going forward, I've always thought, you know what, they should do 10 from each brand and then 10 wild card entries for
that'd be
the
good.
40-man Rumble.
Mm.
And it takes, I imagine it takes a load off having to plan other matches too, because you have longer runtime of the main match itself.
Yeah. I also think I think now they do. They have the roster size probably to do a 40-woman Rumble. I think they definitely have the size to do 40 men. Woman might be tougher just because, like, look at nowadays. There's only like 4 people announced for the Women's Royal Rumble. That's always the case. So,
well, let's be real though. Like the Women's Rumble, they always just fill it up with surprise entrants anyway. Hey, you want your nostalgia pop? Here it is.
Yeah, I think with the Women's Rumble compared to the Men's Rumble, I think is with the Men's Rumble is when I say you could get 40 guys in there, I mean you can get 40 guys who will all get a reasonable pop without even having to go into that Legends category. Now, I said 10 wildcard entries if you want to do 40, so that means you can do however many surprises you want, no more than 10, and then, you just have kind of your pool to pick from of like, okay, do we miss anybody from Raw, SmackDown, or NXT? With the women, I feel like even now they have trouble filling up 30 of their own roster who will all get a reaction.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because as much as we kind of hate to say it, I think every year at the Rumble, people get reminded not everybody watches NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
People will come out that we'll be excited for, and there'll be kids in the crowd like, oh, okay, well, the crowd's going nuts, so I guess I'll clap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, going through it, I was at this Rumble as well. This was the first Royal Rumble and the only Royal Rumble I've ever been to, and the first of the big 4 that I've been to, because I've been to WrestleMania 32, and I went to Survivor Series 2013 2 years later.
Bring SummerSlam to Gillette, WWE.
I know. I'm still on to SummerSlam. I was going to go to the SummerSlam when COVID hit. So
I know. It was a good idea trying to hold it in the Garden. I'm still of the mindset, wait for Gillette Stadium's construction to be done. Put it in the stadium.
Wait, they're reconstructing Gillette?
The tower. It's nothing major.
Gotcha.
Well, at the very least, put it in Fenway Park since it's the summertime anyways and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess that would be tough because baseball is still kind of going on at that time, though. So,
I would say you can always do like an NXT event at Fenway.
Yeah. But anyhow, so I was at this show live. I went with my aunt and uncle and like their 2 friends and stuff like that because they obviously, except my aunt, they all like wrestling and stuff like that. And I was in the balcony seats, which I think I talked about it when I went to Survivor Series War Games. A Rumble, being in the balcony can kind of benefit you because you can kind of see everything that goes on and all that type of stuff. And yeah, it was really fun to go to this show live. I'm probably going to grade the show a little higher than like James or even Steve would, just because it was my first like Royal Rumble and stuff like that. But before I do, usually Steve, I like to do a little trivia to the person that picks these retros about like where it took place and the buy rate and stuff. So Steve, you should know this. Where was this? Where did this show take place? What venue and what city? You should know this.
Well, it obviously took place in Yankee Stadium.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Home of the world's dirtiest, rottenest baseball team of all time.
There you go.
Now, of course, this event took place from TD. At the time, just TD Garden, not TD Bank North Garden.
Which
I know they've had that.
I was so confused when Cole called it TD Bank North. I'm like, wait a minute.
I mean, I'll give you guys a real throwback. I remember when the 03 Rumble took place in the Fleet Center.
Yeah. Actually, John told us before. He was actually at the 03 Rumble, and he wasn't even a wrestling fan at the time. So, and he was really young at that time, too. So
my brother was at the 03 Rumble as well, and he tells me the one thing he remembers is RVD was coming out. He totally forgot he had the world's loudest freaking pyro.
Mm.
And he said they were like balcony, but balcony close to the stage. So that thing went off. He said he, no joke, probably shit himself.
Yeah.
If you've ever been up close when the pyro goes off and you're not expecting it, it will scare the shit out of you.
Yeah. Going through, do you know what the attendance was for this show?
I mean,
the
the top of my head, I'm going to say 60,000.
It was actually 15,113 attendance, but that number could very well be made up.
I'm used to inflating the numbers with WWE, so
yeah. The buy rate. Do you know what the buy rate was for this show?
I can't say that I do.
It was
low. I bet you it was low.
It was 476,000 buys.
Ooh, that's actually not as low as I thought it would be.
I mean, I guess you figure 40-man Rumble, that's going to boost intrigue.
And what was the tagline for this show? You should know the tagline for it. They only said it about 1,000 times.
The one! The one!
The 140-man Rumble, right?
It's the biggest Royal Rumble in history.
Oh, what a...
was the tagline. So
I swear there's two taglines, because they say biggest Royal Rumble in history, and then they follow up with 40 men, but who will be the one?
What?
Yeah.
So
that definitely does happen.
And then it doesn't say here, but I'm pretty sure I know the theme song because I listen to it a lot because it's actually a pretty good song for the Rumble. You know what the theme song for this Rumble was?
I don't remember what it was at all, actually.
It was Living in a Dream by Finger 11.
It sucks. Oh my god, that's the most annoying thing I've ever heard. Like, legit. Fucking shut up.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Oh my god. This is far from Slow Chemical.
Yeah. Going through, usually, Steve, when I've added this to the retros, I kind of say where wrestling is, the state of wrestling is, and what company we're reviewing at this time. But I feel like this case, it kind of fits to talk about the state of wrestling. WWE and kind of wrestling itself was coming off a pretty bad year in 2010. We'll talk about WWE first. The booking was really bad in 2010. This was right after they buried the Nexus and they started.
I was going to say, if you want to talk about bad decisions in 2010 in wrestling, Nexus. That's all I have to say. We got to get my brother on here. He was like the biggest Nexus fan I knew at the time. He will. Yeah, we're gonna have We're gonna break our record. We're gonna have a 24-hour web show going. And he's gonna tell you everything WWE did wrong, piece by piece, with that group. But
I'd be down for that.
It all boils down to. It was very. It is the thing is it all boils down to one real simple thing. Nothing was complicated. It was all just a very simple roadmap they had to follow.
Yeah, and
they just looked at it and said,
No.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just the Nexus they were screwing up. They, were the booking pretty much all over the WWE in 2010 just didn't make any sense. They were doing things with the Divas title that didn't make sense. They were doing things with the World title. This was right after, like, they did that crappy storyline. Like, basically every storyline. The only thing they were really doing right, and I use the word right loosely, was they were building up the Miz properly, and then they started kind of screwing that up by this show right here. They basically split the Nexus up. They became known as the New Nexus the Core.
Can we also talk about this as well? You bring this up. So the members of the Nexus were green. Some of them were super green and weren't TV ready. Out of the people that were TV ready, I think Barrett,
Justin Gabriel,
Slater, Gabriel. I'll make an argument for even fucking Ryback TV ready.
I can pull up the group right now. Let's see.
Yeah.
Tarver was not fucking ready at all.
I was going to say, Tarver was gone. He was gone.
Otunga wasn't ready, at least wrestling-wise anyway.
Otunga was never ready.
I was going to say, it kind of connects to Nexus real quick, but I think another thing a lot of people look over in 2010 that I think in the long run really hurt WWE was Batista leaving. And obviously, if you know the situation, he left because he thought WWE was just going in a bad direction. He thought the PG was hindering them a little too much. But
There's that line that Batista
obviously
said-
we kind of look back on it now. It's like you can have a PG wrestling product and you can still be, A tier. It just depends on how good your writing is.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
No.
I think the one thing that Batista says from this line when he quits the first time is, after he leaves, you all will be so bored you'll never watch the show again. This company's going to struggle to move on. Boy, was Batista ever true. Boy, was he ever true.
He got him.
he was
So
wrong.
looking at the Nexus members. So, we had Wade Barrett, who
he
was kicked out of the group by this time and in the core.
Yeah,
Yep.
TV ready.
So
TV ready.
the for the record, the core group was all TV ready by this point. It was Wade Barrett, Ezekiel Jackson, Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater.
Do you remember?
They were all fine.
Well,
they were all fine in the Nexus too.
Speaking of which, this is a big quick trivia right here. Do you remember that group they made? It was right after WrestleMania. It was a one-night thing they did when the core went against this group, but like right after WrestleMania. It was a funny thing they did too.
I remember it was Santino's group.
It was called the Apple. You remember that? It was like Santino, Daniel Bryan.
Was it the Apple?
Yeah, they
Mark Henry.
buried the core. They buried the Nexus as a whole, like legitimately. Yeah. So there was, out of all the members of the Nexus, I remember the main ones. Otunga was not ready. Tarver wasn't ready, and Darren Young was out of place.
Yeah,
I don't think he ever fit in the group once. And then
Daniel Bryan was
obviously TV ready.
He was ready, but obviously he didn't last more than a hot minute in the group.
And then he got kicked out. I don't know why they never put in Low Key.
Yeah,
I don't know
they
why they
made
didn't
a lot of
put him in. And
they
by
made
the
a lot
way,
of questionable decisions.
and by the way, there was a bunch of people that they have from the fucking ECW trade before NXT was a thing that they could have put in this group too. Like Tyler Rex was one when he came out. I'm like, why isn't he in the group? Tyler Rex needed something to do. Fucking Chris Masters, just for how fucking much WWE shafted him, I feel like could have been a big fit.
You know?
But hey, it's okay. It's okay. We got Mason Ryan.
No.
Obviously.
Well, Mason wasn't bad. I always think he was just fucking somewhat green, but you could have saw potential in him. There was the issues,
miscast.
The issues that I had with the Nexus is that they had members that were prominent that they could have put in that would have made sense. Like, I look at here's two fucking members I look at if they wanted to go a different direction with the fucking Nexus and shit, and even have a civil war with the Nexus, which is basically what they try to do.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, why not the Miz and Riley?
Yeah, that would have been good.
I mean, the big problem with the it really all stemmed from that whole SummerSlam debacle, and obviously there's been people who have said, it was Cena's call. Cena said, it wasn't my call, and I don't know. I feel like it's just such a weird thing because
because
Cena really hasn't lied about much.
Yeah, because Barrett even did an interview too. Like
you guys keep going.
Barrett did an interview too that whole day where he talked about how the Nexus will always meant to go over, and it was changed like I think it was like not right before the match, obviously, but the day of the show, pretty much, that the finish was changed for them not to go over, pretty much. So
I mean, I've heard. I think I did hear one story at one point where it was kind of like, they said, like Vince had decided he wanted to change it, and he asked them what they thought, and Cena didn't really defend them. He was like, all right, whatever, you're the boss. And there were people who were like, you've kind of clapped back, because he wasn't. There were people who said like he didn't really lay the foot down. He just said, "What do you think about this?" And people said, you could have said no, and Vince would have been like, "Yeah, you're right." Yeah. I mean,
but other things that were going on with WWE, obviously the Nexus was the biggest thing, but they also they had funded Linda's second Senate campaign, which failed miserably. They were really trying to get that over, and it really didn't work. It really blew up in their face because she ended up losing the Senate campaign. I don't know if she had lost by this time, but I know she did end up losing. The NXT show, the game show NXT that they really started to get off the ground, really just jumped the shark after season 2 of NXT. You can even say season 2 of NXT.
Slight side note, I just now seeing the WWE 2K23 cover, and it actually looks really good.
Yeah, it does.
It is,
And then,
for those of you who don't know, it is John Cena.
yeah, looks really good.
Yeah.
Wait, his
And
name
then,
is
Try to
Cena?
get sidetracked.
The developmental brand was FCW wasn't doing that well because a lot of careers were set to die in FCW. This is when kind of FCW wasn't, really making the stars I think that we thought they were going to make.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, across the other company, TNA, they were just really struggling because this was when Immortal was going down. Like, basically, wrestling in the United States mainstream was really struggling at this time.
Yeah.
And I think the Royal Rumble...
Wrestling in 2011 as a whole, I think, was not in a good place because TNA was struggling because of the Hogan Bischoff power trip, which, to their credit, they eventually realized was an issue, but
It was too late.
They were a second too late.
Although I will say that I think a lot of people give Bischoff shit more than is needed because he was never necessarily in charge of everything.
Yeah, he was just kind of along for the ride, I feel.
Dixie just went with whatever the fuck they recommended, but I would hardly venture to say that they were in charge of everything. Like he has,
I think it was Hogan making poor booking decisions, and that's why when WWE brings him back, he is back as a superstar. He does not come back to book anything.
But essentially, in the short thing we can say is that pro wrestling in the United States, mainstream wise, was not just doing well. WWE had a bad 2010, and TNA had a bad 2010. So,
and they carried over to 2011, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, at least
for the first half of the year, obviously, Money in the Bank flipped things for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now that we've kind of given you that perspective, going through the actual show itself now.
I will say this real quick, though. If you do look at New Japan's timeline, 2011 is around the time they start gaining that momentum of getting a little bigger.
Yeah, finally got out of the dreaded Enochiism, which, by the way, it took till 2011 to do. So
so we can really wrestling just wasn't. I think ROH was probably the company that was probably having the most success.
ROH was the most successful company by that point.
Yeah, ROH was actually doing pretty good. James, I'm not sure if you heard before we get into it. The 2K23 cover has been put out. It's John Cena, and it actually looks pretty badass.
Fair enough.
But yeah, going through the show now that we've kind of given. So now that we've given you, so I think everyone wanted the Rumble to be good for the reasons we just said right there, because of how bad of a year WWE and just professional wrestling was having in 2010.
Boy, would we have to wait 5 more months for WWE to get fucking interesting.
Yeah. So we had the commentary team. We're just going to talk about this now. It was Matt Stryker, Jerry the King Lawler, and Michael Cole. Their commentary team was awful all night. I think not all night. They were passable during the World Heavyweight Championship match, but the rest of the show, the commentary was abysmal. Just there's a heel Michael Cole on commentary, and that's the worst version of Michael. And it's pumped up because they're setting up the match between him and Jerry Lawler.
I'll make this very quick. Heel Michael Cole, babyface Jerry Lawler, and I know I'm gonna get fired Matt Stryker. God, is this dynamic so bad. And by the way, not one of them can call a fucking move, even though Stryker tries throughout the night and gets talked over as he tries.
That was as we've come to learn, I genuinely believe throughout the years it really has been Vince micromanaging Cole to a T. Because you notice the second Vince is gone and Triple H is like, you've been in this for over 20 years. You know what to do. Cole goes out there and he calls great shows. Cole has been
It's almost like I was fucking right about him in 2003!
Yes, I think I genuinely believe Michael Cole might actually be one of the greatest commentators of all time. We just never knew because he was being fucking micromanaged to death.
Him to death.
Well, actually, I figured it out because the shows that he would call when Vince was still in charge, when Triple H was producing them, he did really well on those shows. So,
I mean, I'm really happy that so far from what we've heard and even what we've seen, Vince is not back in a creative sense.
Yeah.
I haven't noticed any dynamic shifts that would indicate otherwise. So
Yeah, but the commentary, like we said, was really bad on this show. I don't think it was 20. I don't know. I don't know what to compare. I think we also think it's really bad too because we've seen what the commentary is like nowadays, and it's just you can really notice it when you watch Vince produce show back then.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing we'll say about the commentary is the biggest reason it does suck is they were also doing the feud between Michael Cole and Jerry the Kid Lawler, so they, had to continue to build that storyline because
Matt Stryker was basically the fucking babysitter, which he wanted to do anything but doing.
Yeah.
Well, for some of the matches, and then all of a sudden he'd switch it up to heel anytime the Divas or Cody were mentioned.
Yeah. So next we had the intro and the cold open. It was just them kind of showing the Royal Rumble match, talking about how it's going to be the biggest Royal Rumble match ever, which was a big deal. Then we had the first match. It was a World Heavyweight Championship match. It was Edge defending against Dolph Ziggler with Vicky Guerrero inside, and if Edge used the spear, he would lose the belt. Reason for this match is Dolph Ziggler and Vicky Guerrero just became an item at this time. They had been an item for a while. And obviously, Edge and Vicky Guerrero were an item at one point, so it was a nice little callback to that. Dolph Ziggler had become the number one contender to Edge's World Heavyweight Championship, which Edge won at TLC.
Dude.
And they obviously did a call.
This dynamic between Edge and Vicky, let's just call it what it is. Had they not stretched it out as long as they did, SmackDown would have been dead a lot sooner.
Yeah.
It would have died a death.
Looking back on that time period, hating Vicky Guerrero as much as I did is probably why I actually tuned into SmackDown because I wanted to see someone kick her ass so bad every week.
Because it would have.
I can comfortably look back at this time period and say, without any doubt in my mind, Vicky Guerrero one of the best heels in wrestling of all time from a managerial role.
Yep. Rogers is right up there.
Yeah. Continuing. So pretty much they were going back to that dynamic with Edge and Vicky Guerrero and obviously throwing Dolph Ziggler in there. They would all try to get one another to turn on each other because Edge would point out footage of when Dolph Ziggler would cheat on Vicky Guerrero. And while Dolph Ziggler did that to Edge, the biggest thing that came out of this match I forgot to talk about actually was right after Ziggler became number one contender because Vicky Guerrero was the assistant of Teddy Long at the time, who was the SmackDown GM. Teddy Long had been attacked by an unknown assailant backstage. We thought it was the Core because their Core had just debuted at this time. And it made Vicky Guerrero the acting general manager of SmackDown while Teddy Long was absent. And this allowed, Vicky Guerrero to put that hold on where she could, to make the rule on where the spear was banned. And Edge got told if he used the spear in this match. I'm pretty sure it became banned as a whole for a while, even though it was weird because I think you see people do spears later on in this show, which doesn't make any sense at all. Like, why is Edge's spear more devastating than because the Big Show does a spear on the show? You'd think if anyone's spear should be banned, it should be the Big Show's, but whatever.
Yeah.
So Edge gets told if he uses the spear, he loses the championship. And Edge speared Dolph Ziggler 4 times on SmackDown, the go home episode of SmackDown. I mentioned that because Ziggler comes out and his ribs aren't taped up or anything like that, even though he got speared 4 times on SmackDown. What was
Continuity error.
The idea.
Continuity error.
By the way, this is another Vinceism. What you just mentioned, you cannot show weakness even if you got injured.
Yep.
Fucking absolute melon.
Going through the match. Pretty good match here. They both start off chain wrestling each other. Vicky Guerrero comes out and does a promo introducing Dolph Ziggler, and she tries to egg Edge on to use the spear. Like I said, the commentary was pretty passable in this match. It was bad in places because Michael Cole would break out his heel a little bit. Matt Stryker was trying to ask Jerry the Kid Lawler about You know, because the power driver was banned, and that was Jerry the King Lawler's finisher for a while. So what did he do to change his move up? And Jerry the King Lawler really didn't give him much of an answer. So I don't know. I just went and did another move. Like it's like that all night, honestly. That Striker tries to ask a question.
You know why? Because Vince is screaming at their ear, probably saying, "Don't you dare give an answer to that."
Yeah.
Like, and that Striker gives up, like, halfway through. He's like, you know what? I know I'm going to get fired. I don't care anymore.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a point, by the way. I'm pretty sure there's a point where Cole actually is trying to do it. Believe it or not, it's heel Cole, too. He tries to ask a question. Lawler and Striker don't answer the question. And I think he legitimately gets annoyed. And he's like, okay, I guess no one wants to answer. Like, it wasn't him being a heel. I think he legitimately got annoyed and says, okay, I guess no one's going to answer my question.
No.
Like, I think,
Right.
Because because it's heel Michael Cole, and they don't know if he's being serious or not.
Yeah.
Either way, it's annoying as fuck.
Yeah. Going through the match, I will say, because it's the same year, I don't know if you could definitely tell Edge was moving a little slower at this time. I don't think you could tell that he was going to retire in a couple of months, but you could definitely tell that Edge was moving a little bit slower.
Yeah, because he didn't really know until that spear on SmackDown on Brutus Clay in the build-up to Mania.
Yeah.
Because he speared him, hit his head on the ground, and that's when he said, I can't feel my arms.
Yeah,
Dude,
so...
It's hilarious because, goddamn rice keeps getting stuck in my beard. That's flattering.
My sister was telling me to get a haircut to make so that way the fans would think I look good, and I'm gonna tell you that you did stuff like that where you had rice in your beard and all that type of stuff. So
hey,
you know that I was gonna say I'm probably cutting my hair soon if anybody wants to hop on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna cut my hair right around springtime rolls around. I'm gonna get a flat top again.
But anyhow,
you know what to do? Get a flat top and do the Snitsky beard.
Yeah, the thing that I don't think people realize is Edge was somewhat operating slow around this time, but he was still good enough until that spear from Brodus. People don't realize that match with Del Rio, he legitimately could have died.
Yeah.
Like, he legitimately, if he took one wrong bump that night, it would have been a disaster. And that would have been in front of over 1 million people who bought the fucking event. That would have been a tragedy if he'd have taken a wrong bump that night.
Yeah, and that was the first match on Mania too, so it literally would have derailed the entire.
It would have canceled the whole show. There's no way they would have done that fucking over the edge issue twice. Although with Vince, you never know.
Well, they would have, but
they kind of did with
they would have had a lot more backlash if it was in 2011. Trust and believe, the media would have been all over them if they did.
But going through the match, Edge and Ziggler, start chain wrestling each other. Edge gets the upper hand throughout much of it. He hits a really cool, not a flapjack, but he does like a version of a flapjack onto him.
Yeah,
he drop kicks Ziggler.
It's a flapjack, just straight up flapjack.
Yeah, he drop kicks Ziggler on the outside. He throws him into the barricade, and he gets distracted by Vicky Guerrero, and he goes into the ring. And then it allows Ziggler to get the advantage. He kicks him in the head and hits a draping neck breaker on the Edge, which was cool. And he works over the neck of Edge. Like again, now you can wonder, was he selling at this time, or was it a mixture of both? And Edge went on a little bit of a comeback, but Ziggler would continuously cut him down. Eventually, Edge does a full-on comeback, does an actual flapjack, the one you usually see. And Edge actually locks in the Educator. Move doesn't get called by the commentary team.
Oh my god, that pissed me off. Okay, there was 2 moves that he hit that were named after Edge. The Edge-O-Matic, which I think is the flapjack you're referring to, and the fucking Educator, which is his
version of the sharpshooter / Scorpion Deathlock.
And he does it in a lion tamer formation where he puts the knee to the upper back. Don't even call it the Educator. Submission maneuver by Edge. Vince.
And this is bad.
Call the name of the fucking move.
This is bad too because
like I can get the whole we can't call the STF the STFU anymore because we're PG. Okay, you can call them STF then, and they do.
You can't go and call the fucking Educator the Educator.
But I think
named after him.
But this is doubly bad too. Because the whole story of the match is Edge can't use the spear. He just pulled out 2 of his moves that he used to put people away in, and it doesn't get called. That was terrible.
Not once does it get called. And I'm like, stop doing your heel stick and call the fucking move. God, I wanted to rip my ears out because of this commentary. This is when it started getting bad.
Such a bad show.
Like 3/4 of the way in on this fucking show, I wanted to rip my ears out already.
Yeah. Continuing, Edge hits a flying clothesline off the top. Eventually, they do a couple double down spots, one a clothesline version and one a high cross body version.
Oh, by the way, he hits the execution. Matt Stryker actually goes back to the original name of the move, which is the Impaler DDT. So he tries to fucking call it. This is when they try to talk over him because they didn't want the move called because they knew Vince was going to scream in their ear, which he probably fucking did.
Yep.
And fucking near fall, but a move finally gets fucking called.
Yep.
Finally gets called.
I think after what, like 15 minutes of the match too, the win at this point, and the move finally gets called.
Yeah, something like that. I think he called a neck. He called a neck breaker as well, but it was a disaster.
Ziggler goes for the sleeper hold. Edge counters it. Vicky Guerrero pops up on the apron and distracts Edge, slaps him in the face, which isn't a DQ for some reason.
I don't.
And then Kelly comes out randomly. This obviously set up their feud that went on that never led to a match.
Hold on. Kelly comes out. First off, number one thing I got to get out there. Oh, Lord have mercy. She looked fucking out of this world hot in the military pants with the fucking tank top. I'm like, yeah, okay. This is like, she's going into Barbie Blank by this point.
Dear Internet, Kelly coming out every year at the Royal Rumble as a surprise. Well, it could be worse.
Yeah.
Kelly, my eyes are happy, so.
Yeah, Kelly attacks Vicky.
A decent Hurricane Rana that one time.
She did.
Yeah.
She did.
Kelly attacks Vicky Guerrero, which removes Vicky Guerrero for the rest of the match, and Kelly just stands there until the finish of the match. The match keeps going, too, at this point. Ziggler hits a zigzag, Edge kicks out, and then he locks in the sleeper hold. Edge knocks down the referee, and this allows Edge to hit the spear while the ref's down, which Michael Cole was upset about. This made sense because he's the heel, but obviously it's heel Cole, so it gets annoying. And Edge plays possum and pretends that he's down, so that way the referee doesn't think anything of it. And he gets up and he hits the kill switch onto Ziggler, which was a move from Christian, which was a good thing that they talked about. I think it's Stryker that mentions it too.
You could tell too because he wanted to say kill switch engage so bad, like he did on ECW. You can tell, and he couldn't say it. So eventually, he tries to say the name of the move again, and for some reason, his mind goes to a version of the Unprettier. It hadn't been called the Unprettier in years.
I know. And then
well, son, the important thing is you tried.
Edge hits the kill switch, wins the match, retains the World Heavyweight Championship. I didn't even mention this because we were so busy talking about bad. This was Dolph Ziggler's first ever World Championship match, a test for him, and he did really well.
He did really well, dude. He came out to Cage 9. I forgot he was still coming out to Cage 9 by this point.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought this was a good match. I gave it 3 stars. I think we're just gonna say the star ratings go down mainly because of the commentary. It's so bad on this show. It ruins the match.
Awful. 3.5. I would have given it. I actually would have probably given it a 4.5, but the commentary just completely takes you out of it. Unless you're with a group of people watching this match, or you are alive in the arena, God, this sucks. Because the commentary takes you out of it, bro. Bad.
I never realized the biggest benefit to seeing shows live sometimes is you can't hear the commentators until I rewatched it.
And it sucks, too, because it's only during the time of WWE. AEW, great commentary. WWE nowadays, great commentary. Impact, it's so-so now, but when D'Lo and Stryker were on, great commentary. Fucking having a good commentary track is really useful.
Crucial.
And it's crucial in a lot of cases. And this was not good commentary.
I've personally always been of a mindset that your commentary team needs to be what gets casual viewers to become hardcore viewers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they're gonna turn on, and the first thing they're gonna hear is whoever's doing commentary. So, it's gonna be up to them to kind of explain what's going on if you haven't been watching.
But Steve, your thoughts on the World Heavyweight Championship match and everything?
I agree with you, Owen. 3 stars out of 5. It was a solid match. I don't think there was really anything big to write home about, but the commentary sucked.
Yeah.
Would you
so
have rated it higher if the commentary wasn't there?
Yes.
Probably where you're at, James. I would have just gone 3.5 stars. I don't think it's a 4-star match by any means because, like I said, nothing huge out of this.
Yeah.
But point is, the commentary did ding it for you as well.
Yeah.
It did. Yeah.
The only career perspectives I can really do. This obviously wasn't the end of this program. They would have a couple more matches on SmackDown where Vicky Guerrero just tried to get this title and tried to stack the deck against Edge. And because Edge used the spear, if you remember this was Ziggler's first World Championship reign. He never even beats Edge for the belt. He just gets Vicky Guerrero just strips Edge and hands Ziggler the championship, and he loses the belt in like 11 minutes.
His first title reign was 11 minutes.
Yep. And that's pretty much the end of that. We mentioned where everyone else is. As for Kelly, we haven't mentioned her. She basically she was the Divas champion later in the year. I thought she had an okay Divas title run. Had some pretty damn good matches with Beth Phoenix. Then when she lost the belt, she kind of just floundered for a while and basically was out of the company in 2012 and now became an actress and modeling and all that type of stuff.
Boy, is she a actress, and boy, is she ever a model.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then as for, we didn't mention what Matt Stryker is because I forgot. Matt Stryker, obviously, after this was his last commentary with the big leagues. He would just do superstars, and then I think when main event started up, he would do main event. Booker T took his place right after this, so the commentary team just believe it or not, gets worse afterwards.
Actually, Booker was not unbearable in 2011 as much as he is now.
I think because Cole was Cole.
I talked about it last time I was on the show. Booker T is the most insufferable commentator in wrestling today for me. I just like he talks. I don't know what he's talking about. I know he's not talking about the match except for maybe every 5 minutes.
Talking about his
with the DDT and the duckies and the shuckies and the quacks and I was in Harlem Heat, brother.
Yeah. But continuing, Matt Stryker though,
Wesley, we coming for you.
No.
But yeah, Matt Stryker would stay on commentary and do hosting on NXTs and stuff like that. He actually had a pretty underrated in-ring return. He had a really good match with Darren Young in NXT.
Yeah,
I don't know if you guys know about it. And then he was released in 2013. And then he went on to do commentary for AAA for the English side, which he doesn't do anymore, which I don't know why. Then he would do New Japan when they would do Access TV with JR, I believe. Maybe sometimes in English.
I think he was in Lucha Underground.
Lucha Underground. And he was...
probably his best work is in Lucha Underground, arguably.
Yes.
I don't know. That work with D'Lo Brown that you talked about.
Quick side note since we brought it up. Believe it or not, I think the most wrestling questions I ever got for a period in my life was not people who watch WWE, not people who watch New Japan, not TNA, people who watch Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
Being like, what the fuck is this? So I'm like, yeah, you just gotta watch because that's my answer.
Yeah. That should be a retro someday, just doing seasons.
Doing retros of Lucha Underground.
I could do that.
I agree.
But anyhow, so that's that. Going through the next match, it was The Miz versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. I know the interview happens first, but because I'm just going to do the background since it kind of goes with it here. The Miz had won the Money in the Bank ladder match in 2000, the Raw Money in the Bank ladder match in 2011. And he held on to this briefcase for a while. He cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase on Randy Orton after he had been beaten down by the Nexus and had a match with Wade Barrett for the belt and won the championship. And yeah, his title reign never really gets off the ground all that much. He's basically made to be a fluke champion. I get it's The Miz, but I feel like The Miz was really being screwed here because in this video package alone, the biggest thing that they talk about is The Miz is not going to make it to WrestleMania as champion. You have people like John Cena, Jerry the King Lawler, and there was somebody else, Edge, crapping all over him, saying he's a paper champion and all this type of stuff.
They just buried him.
Yeah.
Bad.
The Miz's title reign, looking back on it, the 2010 part of it was good. You know, the 6 weeks at the end of 2010 or whatever. I mean,
then they started booking.
I don't think anyone really questioned the decision to put the belt on him. You know, he was still young at the time, but he was experienced enough where he was ready for them to take that risk with him. But I think he ran with it the best he could.
Yeah, he did.
I don't think he ever phoned it in.
No, he definitely didn't phone it in. It's just
he gave himself a damn concussion at WrestleMania, pushing himself to the limit.
Yeah.
I genuinely think that, and I look at this now, and maybe this is just me, but like, they went the wrong direction with the new Nexus, because if they slowly started turning the Nexus face, and never did a splinter group at that point.
Yeah.
Genuinely believe that it should have been anti-hero face Punk versus The Miz as a full-on heel. If they were gonna really go. Because it was either that or John Morrison for me.
Yeah.
Should have been the match they went with.
Well, I think something just kind of, once again, side note, that really hurt the Nexus in 2011 was Punk could have kept the group going, even when he was on that big run where he won the championship.
Yeah, they could have turned face. Yeah.
They could have had that go in a direction of, all right, this isn't going to be Punk's one-man show. This is going to be, you know, Punk's one-man show, but also trying to elevate these guys.
Yeah, I remember specifically in 2011 when he does the pipe bomb thing, McGillicuddy and Otunga come out with Kill Switch Engage as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, there was a period of time they were coming out to his theme, but they never mentioned that he was the leader of the new Nexus at all. It was like they were slowly deviating from that entire angle. And I'm like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
But anyhow, I think in a perfect world, I think why the Miz's championship reign suffered is, had the original Nexus been booked better, you know, we're gone over at SummerSlam. This honestly should have been buried as the champion here. I will talk about what we do with the Rumble. And the Miz should have gotten the belt after WrestleMania. I think that would have benefited him huge if he got the belt after WrestleMania.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah,
but anyhow,
because then he could have cashed it in on fucking Cena.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have.
And you know, he wouldn't be.
A lot of sense.
But anyhow, going through it. So yeah, the Miz, you know, Randy Orton will continue to feud. The Miz beat him in the tables match. And then Randy Orton became the number one contender in that cage match against Ken Sheamus and Wade Barrett, which got Barrett kicked out of the group. And, you know, the feud, everything that they tried to put into it was pretty decent. You know, Randy Orton can't beat the Miz and all that type of stuff. And they were adding Jerry Lawler to it and stuff like that. So that was pretty okay. We have the match. First, the Miz and Alex Riley get interviewed, and again, they make the Miz look weak because the first question that he gets asked is, how are we going to pull off this match? Like, do you actually think you have a chance of winning this match? Like, why would you ask a question like that to the Miz of all people? But, you know, basically he says that he's the WWE champion, and he talks about how Randy Orton has never beaten him for the belts. So, yeah, the Miz does the best he can to answer this question, obviously. It just was not a very good question. We have the title match itself. This match is really long. It drags, to be honest.
It's bad. Yeah, there's no redeeming qualities about this.
I think it's one of those
that happened and a match that exists.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the things I think that's bad about the Rumble sometimes, because they can't put many matches on the show sometimes. Some matches go longer than they need to. This is one of those matches that went longer than it needed to be. The match starts. This is when the commentary just gets awful because Michael Cole was doing the big fanboy of the Miz type of thing, and he just would not shut up. And obviously Lawler was bad too because he was feuding with The Miz, so he was biased against The Miz. The only one that really tries to call anything is Matt Striker in this match. And I think the worst thing that happens is Matt Striker asks Michael Cole a question like, what would you have to say are The Miz's weaknesses? He knows he's not going to get a legit answer too. He even says it. And Michael Cole says, well, I think people take The Miz's kindness for weakness. And he just starts healing on The Miz again, talking about all this charity work he's doing. He completely doesn't answer the question. It was terrible.
It's laughable. Looking back on it, just how bad it was.
Dude, Orton hits a superplex right after that fucking Matt Striker tries to call the goddamn move again. He's getting talked over!
Yeah.
He's getting talked over! He's fucking he even trying to say it's famous for Bob Orton and they're talking over him! Let him call a move!
I don't know if I should say good times or not. I'm just going to say times.
Going through the match.
Times.
Randy Orton starts off the match really aggressively. He destroys The Miz throughout the beginning portions of the matchup. Then eventually on the outside, behind the ref's back, Alex Riley takes a cheap shot on Randy Orton. And Michael Cole was being annoying here, talking about it. And Jerry Lawler's like, wait a minute, why is how come The Miz can do this, but not Edge and all this type of stuff? Michael Cole's like, well, that was just Alex Riley breaking the rules. It wasn't The Miz breaking the rules. And they wouldn't get off of this comment. They wouldn't get
off. Looking back, I feel just terrible. I feel terrible for Michael Cole.
Yeah, I do too.
Clearly
It's not his fault. You know what sucks too? Like it wasn't hard. Just take him out of commentary. It's all you had to do. Make him the anonymous Raw general manager and just reveal him as the GM. It wasn't hard.
Looking back on it,
dude, if you take him out of the booth, he's actually really good as a heel.
Yeah.
All you had to do was take him away from the booth.
I think honestly should have just let Vince go back out on commentary because he basically was anyway.
Dude, he had never recovered for years off of this. It literally took Pat McAfee to finally get him fucking cheered and loved again and appreciated by the masses again.
It took McAfee and it took Triple H's leadership too. In my opinion.
No, even before Triple H got in power though. It took Pat McAfee. How many years did was Cole without Pat McAfee?
Too many.
Yeah, too
many. You know
many.
what I mean? So what? We're talking 10 years. It took 10 fucking years. It took for him to finally get a goddamn standing ovation when he came out for commentary.
Pretty much.
Fuck you, Vince.
I'm not going to break down the rest of the match play-by-play wise because I'm just going to say this. The Miz dominates this match for a long time.
Long. Yeah.
Like the Randy Orton would get a little bit of flurry of a comeback, then get cut off again. Like
it was Orton phoning it in at the highest degree. By the way, it's fucking hilarious because you wouldn't think that would have been the case, by the way. Like, at all. The way they were hyping this up is this is the Viper Randy Orton. This is 2009 heel Randy Orton coming to kick the Miz's ass. Nope.
Not
at all.
Yeah, Randy Orton gets dominated for a long time. Like, I think he doesn't get a full-on comeback until near the end of the match. It just took forever. The Miz dominates him forever. It just felt like it went on forever.
We were in first gear by the time the final pinfall happens.
Yeah. Then Randy Orton finally mounts a comeback. He finally decides to give a shit. And then the new Nexus come out, which we talked about was Michael minus CM Punk, but it was Michael McGillicuddy, Mason Ryan, David Otunga. Who am I missing? It was Husky Harris. That's what I'm missing.
Yeah. The Army tank with Ferrari engine boy, yes.
And
but take some Husky Harris, man.
I got an army tank with a Ferrari engine. I got an army
Was he an
tank.
electrician? Was he an electrician back then, Steve?
We don't know.
Yes.
You know that story,
Is
James,
it
by the way,
electrician
about
training?
About Husky?
no, about the we always ask Steve
Man.
if why we always
no. No.
Yeah, because
When it's
I used to think his name was Bray Watts. I didn't really watch NXT at the time. I heard he came out with a lantern, so someone brought him up to me once. I'm like, oh, he must be an electrician or something.
Well, maybe here he was a mechanic. He was really, he was really hammering home that he was an army tank with a Ferrari engine.
So. Yeah. Anyhow, so Alex Riley tries to get in the ring. Randy Orton doesn't hit an RKO on him. He stomps on his stomach, throws him out of the ring, and he lands on everybody, including the referee. I don't know why the ref was out there, but he was.
That was a fun. That was a fun little spot where they had Riley die.
Yeah.
That was like the best spot of the whole match.
Then Randy Orton hits The Miz goes for a squash finale. Orton reverses it, hits an RKO on The Miz. Then CM Punk hits a GTS on Randy Orton, puts The Miz over him, and covers him. The Miz retains the title. And obviously this launched off the feud between Randy Orton and CM Punk that completely just took the new Nexus and basically pulled an no yellow on them because they were done after that feud. They never never again.
Yep.
And it's what it is. And then this match honestly was like, I'm gonna give it like, this match was bad. I feel like had this match. How long was this match?
Give me a sec. This match was 19 minutes 50 seconds. 20 minutes.
That did not feel like 19 minutes and 50 seconds.
It felt like an hour. It felt like it felt longer than the Rumble, to be honest.
Yeah. So, want to know something funny?
Yeah.
The match before it was longer. Edge and Ziggler went 20 minutes 45 seconds. That doesn't feel like it went 20 minutes 45 seconds.
No,
that
not
felt
at all.
Like it was over pretty quick because it was
very
paced well.
It was a very solid opener. This was the fucking anything but.
And I think the worst part about this is why people shit all over Miz, because I think that people are gonna blame the Miz for that this match was bad. I don't blame the Miz at all. I honestly think the Miz carries this match.
The Miz tried to carry this match. Orton was giving him nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think there's Orton works typically a slow style anyway, but there's a difference when he's working a slow, methodical style to tell a story, which is fine. That's good. Then there's him working a slow style of
when's my paycheck?
I'm phoning it in and I'm gonna get away with it. It's like, no, you're not getting away with it.
Yeah, it just comes down to like he was in a good spot where he didn't give a fuck, and I think he stopped caring. Like when you have a motivated Randy Orton, there's nobody better in the fucking world. The problem is you didn't have a motivated Randy Orton and it hindered Miz.
Well, the problem you have to remember is this is still kind of Orton toward the end of his troubled years, we'll call them.
Is it? Is he still on drugs somewhere?
I think he gets suspended again in like 2013, maybe
2012.
No, in
2012. Yeah,
because I think that was for like a fucking like drug he was taking for medicine that they confused with that. Because I think he was clean around this time.
Well, I think when he got popped that time, I think that might have been his third strike, but because it wasn't anything serious, like you had said, they were able to kind of brush it under the rug.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to give up Randy Orton, but
it was a medical, because I remember it was a medical thing. That's the reason why he had like a doctor's note and everything, which is why they fucking expunged it or whatever.
Yeah, but if you look back at like any of the like Randy Orton videos on Peacock, like he even says for the longest time he knows he had an attitude problem. I mean, obviously he wasn't in that young cocky phase anymore. Now I think he was more in his just I've been here a while, I can phone it in if I want phase.
Yeah, for
obviously.
Sure.
Yeah, that fucked over the Miz big time.
Yeah. I give this match like a 1 1/4 stars. It was not good.
Yeah. This sucked. I agree. 1 1/4. at best. That's the quarters being generous.
Well, I'd like to give it 2 stars, but commentary, so 1.5 stars.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was worse in this match too.
Yes.
Next it shows a "Don't try this at home" ad, just telling you not to try it at home. James,
I
and
had
gave us
surgery 5 times in my left knee. Poor Ray. He's
I think
forever gonna be meme for that now.
yeah. Next, Todd Grisham's backstage. By the way, we're not doing career retrospectives for the title match because one, for the Miz and Randy Orton, you can watch other retros and stuff. And Alex Riley and the New Nexus show up in the Rumble later, so we'll just do it then.
Okay.
Please.
Todd Grisham's backstage. The reason this was happening was because he was given an update on Dash and Cody Rhodes because on SmackDown a few weeks before this, he got 619 by Rey Mysterio with the exposed knee brace, which ended up breaking his nose. So they obviously wrote him off here and stuff. And Todd Grisham read a prepared statement saying that pretty much that he blames Rey Mysterio for costing him the Rumble match. He said this would have been an easy Royal Rumble win for him. And he says that he's suing WWE and he will be on SmackDown. Well, no, because that wasn't until later. But he basically said that the WWE is going to have hell to pay for doing this to my face and all this type of stuff. This would obviously lead to Cody Rhodes doing the
paper
mask
bag man.
Yeah, pretty much. So there you go. What did you guys think of this segment? It was really weird. I would have just preferred Cody just do a promo himself instead of Grisham, to be honest. But whatever.
I'm surprised Grisham was still employed by this point.
Yeah, me too.
I was shocked actually. I was flabbergasted he was there. I was like,
What did you think?
wait, wasn't he a part of fucking ESPN doing other sports by this point?
So he must have been done by this point. I feel like he was done after this, pretty much, because I forgot to do. Let me look him up real quick. Steve, give your thoughts on the segment while I look up Todd Grisham, what he's up to.
I mean, this was definitely toward the end of his tenure, so much like Randy Orton. I think he was starting to phone it in a little bit at this point. They could have just had Cody do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I don't necessarily blame anybody for phoning an Vince McMahon product.
All I remember about really any of the commentators at this point is so stupid. I had SVR 2011 at this time, and I did what anyone else would have done at the time. I did a storyline where all the commentators had evil twins where I just spelled their names backwards, and they were attacking wrestlers. And it was the absolute dumbest shit you can imagine. But it was funny.
Hey, you know what?
Their leader was Elock, which backwards is Cole.
Elock, yeah, buddy. They
so
did you give them the
Todd
new Nexus
Grisham,
theme? We walk along.
So Todd Grisham, he replaced Michael Cole on NXT as the play-by-play guy with Josh Matthews. And after becoming the lead play-by-play announcer on NXT for 5 months, he left. Grisham's last appearance was on the August 26, 2011 edition of SmackDown. And then obviously now he does basically commentary and interviewers and stuff for sports events.
Works for ESPN, basically, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of left the wrestling industry altogether, pretty much.
I don't blame him. The way he was treated.
I do. What I do remember is, I remember when he used to host Bite This. If anyone ever dared to call in with a question about TNA, he would get so.
Yeah.
Didn't he call somebody a retard flat out for fucking mentioning the TNA question? Yeah.
Yeah, what do you guys think about TNA? Well, that's not my business, so why asking me?
I'll say it because I have the fucking R word pass.
You have the card.
Yeah, I have the card. Fucking Grisham gets called by a TNA guy.
Damn.
TNA's better than WWE, and Grisham just outright says, "Okay, well, why are you calling our show retard?" Hung up the phone. I don't even think he answered his question just out of spite. By the way,
at that point, Vince just calls him up like promotion.
Before we continue going over the show, I forgot to go over like the referees and stuff. So the Spanish commentary team was Carlos Cabrera and Hugo Savinovich. The interviewers were Josh Matthews was the interviewer. I think we've done a career retrospective of Josh Matthews before. The ring announcer was for Raw was Justin Roberts, and for SmackDown was Tony Gimmo. The referees were Mike Chioda, John Cohn, Jack Dane, No, sorry, Jack Doe, not Jack Dane. Justin Ken, Chad Patton, and Charles Robinson. So pretty good referee right there, I guess. Good names. In
Little Nate.
Yeah, Little Nate.
Next, they did like this poll. They played a video package where they asked fans who they thought was going to win the Royal Rumble. Everyone gave like pretty good answers. A lot of John Cena since it was in Boston. There was a Kofi Kingston answer. There was a CM Punk answer.
There was and you could tell that girl was gonna say CM Punk by the color of her hair dye. That was it.
I was kind of hoping there was gonna be a Rockland Rampage appearance, but they went and asked him who was gonna win.
Yeah, fucking.
All right. Side note: have you guys done a retro on WrestleMania 26?
We haven't yet.
Not yet.
Oh, okay. We can do that one at some point. I was interviewed.
Right? Yeah. You were.
I was interviewed for that.
Were you?
Okay, so we'll talk about that.
Stadium.
You were a kid. You were Squid back then, were you?
I 150%. I have the video of it too. Had a complete mark out moments. If I can find it on my parents' computer at some point and send the link to you, James, you can attach it to the video.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. That'll be fun.
Like I'm like on TV, like bugging out. Like they asked me a question. I'm like, well.
There you go.
That's funny.
Next, we had the Divas Championship match. It was supposed to be Lay Cool versus Natalya for the belt when Natalya was defending the championship. The reason for this match was Natalya and Lay Cool just feuded forever for this championship. They never stopped because they had nobody else for Lay Cool to feud with for this belt pretty much. And Natalya finally got the belt from them at Survivor Series. And Lay Cool invoked the rematch because at this time the Divas title was the only title for the women. They, if you were the Divas champion, it was like the tag titles. You could go to both shows and all that type of stuff. Which sucked because the women's belt was gone and everyone hated the Divas belt. And of course, they kept the title that no one liked instead of the belt that everyone else liked. So there you go. And yeah, that's basically the reason for this match. And the match doesn't happen because the anonymous Raw general manager buzzes in, and Michael Cole has to go answer it, and he actually gets tied up in his commentary, like headphones and all that type of stuff, which is pretty funny.
Tell you one thing: in an era of piping in fake crowd noise, they never had to pipe in any booze for that anonymous Raw GM. It was all 100% real.
By the way, James, I don't know if you ever went to a show live. The anonymous Raw GM thing, you think it's annoying on TV? It's worse when it's live because it's really loud. But yeah.
He shot me in the ear.
Oh, by the way, I got a notification because I had my ringer on for like a second and it fucking like went off and I'm like, God damn it, no! They made the exact noise and I'm like, no, mute that shit.
Yeah.
Oh man, I just thought of something.
Yeah.
For the love of God, I hope the anonymous Raw GM does not show up on Raw 30 tonight.
Oh, that'd be awful.
Oh no!
If they want to make a 5-second joke about it, that's fine. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so
we like to introduce you to the best GMs of all time. Somebody just brings out the fucking laptop. You have Cole bring it out.
Smash that fucking thing! Smash it!
But anyhow, the anonymous Raw general manager buzzes in. Michael Cole reads the email, and he says that I think there was like a joke where the anonymous Raw GM takes a dig at Cole, and Cole's just like, I'm sure he's just kidding. But he said that since Teddy Long's out of action right now, he's not going to allow the Divas title this time around to have co-champions. He's not going to do this handicap BS. So he's changing the Divas title match. By the way, imagine someone bought this match for this match right here, and then they find out it's changed. What a terrible business philosophy right here. But
I'm sure it was like 4-5 people
honestly,
that did.
Yeah, I very much doubt that they were gonna fucking sue for it. And plus, card subject to change gets them out of that shit anyway.
Yeah, but anyhow, so he changes it to a 4-way match, and instead it's gonna be everyone in the ring, and he adds Eve Torres to the match, who just happened to be there in a wrestling attire. Like, okay,
See, dude. All right, let's just call it what it is, right? The anonymous Raw GM was John Laurinaitis forever because obviously she told Eve, or somebody told Eve, and she just happened to magically have a wrestling gear on, and it's like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Probably.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
But they have this 4-way match. They brawl around a lot. It's not very good. Lay Cool dissect everybody. Natalia does some good moves in the match. She does a double sharpshooter to Layla and Eve Torres. That was cool. It wasn't cool. Obviously, it got ruined kind of by the commentators because like they just couldn't believe that they saw this, even though she did this at Survivor Series before this.
It's like, do you have short-term memory? Guess what? You do now. You didn't see this. Hold on. Wait. I'll be Vince here. You didn't see this before. You didn't see this before.
I was about
it.
to say. I would say, see this pen? Can you share this pen for me for a sec?
Yeah, exactly.
Matt Striker tries to call a Michinoku driver. Jerry the Killer was like, wait, what's that? And Matt Striker's like, you know all about that, referencing the feud that Jerry Lawler and Taka Michinoku had all that time.
Yeah, and then Jerry said, that's the type of car I tried to get the other day. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Everyone's a little bit racist.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Matt Striker tried to get Jerry Lawler to mention the good assets of the woman, and obviously he knew what happened with that because Jerry Lawler couldn't come up with anything because I think he wanted.
It's a PG product now.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I don't know.
Oh my god. Well,
then the match.
Can we also talk about how sad this is? Because all 4 women actually do good wrestling. That's the sad part.
Just nobody
They're
cares.
Really good workers. They just not allowed to show it. Even Eve. You can tell Eve was actually giving a fuck. And they don't let him show it at all. And it's so... But
anyhow, eventually...
it was the format that hurt the Divas, not their performance.
Yeah. Natalia hits a discus clothesline onto, I believe, Layla. And it gets broken up. Natalia gets thrown outside the ring. Eve hits a moonsault on her. And during this, Michelle McCool has Natalia pinned with a roll-up, but the ref doesn't see it. He's counting Layla's shoulders to the mat, and it allows Eve to win. I guess a pretty creative finish. The thing that sucks about it, they never do anything with it. They don't. Michelle McCool doesn't vie for a rematch. None of that. It just nothing comes of this.
Because they needed the belt to offer so they could do the Snooki match.
Oh,
yeah. It really sucks.
By the way, that was their utilization for Trish Stratus. By the way, for her to come back, must babysit Snooki.
Yeah.
Must babysit Snooki. No, you couldn't have had fucking Michelle McCool versus Trish Stratus or Eve Torres versus Trish Stratus. No. Had to babysit Snooki. Just had to.
Yeah.
Natalia really didn't do too terrible, like live in person.
No.
But Natalia really should have retained the belt. She had just won the belt not that long ago. You actually had a wrestler with the title. And I think it sucks more because up until 2017, this was like Natalia's only women's title reign she ever had in the company. So it really sucks.
Yeah.
I give the match I think I gave it a star and a quarter. But honestly, I'm going to go a star and a half, mainly because this match does not piss me off as much as that WWE title match. So
yeah, same.
I'm going to give it 2 stars just for the simple fact that it was better than the last match and commentary didn't have enough time to screw it up.
There you go.
I agree.
As for the career retrospectives, Michelle McCool, this would basically be her last stint as a full-timer in the company. She would loser leaves WWE match at Extreme Rules, and then would kind of disappear into the thin air for a while, and then eventually, obviously, like married, she was already married to The Undertaker, but, kind of did the thing, being a mom and all that type of stuff, and then she's now eventually made sporadic appearances, showing up in the Royal Rumble matches and anniversary shows. Layla, unfortunately got injured right after that Michelle McCool match, and had to take time away, came back and won the Divas title. And then after that Divas title reign, really didn't do all that much. She was
by the way, they transitioned Insatiable to her, which was Tiffany's theme, which was also like a theme for somebody else back in like the Ruthless Aggression era. So they traded that team off for like 4 times to women.
It might have been Sunny's. I don't know.
No,
but then
no, it wasn't.
afterwards, Layla just kind of floundered in the for a while. Then she retired in 2015 and became a real estate agent. If you ever noticed that, like, everybody that came from Diva Search became a real estate agent for some reason. Like, that was the big thing that they like to do for some reason. But,
You want a house? Yeah, there you go. You know why they probably got the house? Because they realized it was a former WWE diva, and they're like, I might have a chance.
yeah. But anyhow,
I'll buy it.
Natalia is still in the company today. She's after the 2011, she had a really bad go of it until the Women's Evolution. She had a lot of really crap gimmicks after this. And then
Lots of farting.
yeah. Then eventually
quite literal on the crap gimmicks.
yeah.
Yes.
And then eventually
Very shitty booking.
Then eventually she did some really good stuff. Once the woman had the Evolution, she had a SmackDown Women's title reign that was pretty decent. And
I will say the best thing about Natalia is she never gets gassed in a match.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, Natalia's still there today.
Really though, if you think about it, they only really now just started delving into her being a Hart and her doing like more Hart family stuff. But I don't know. I don't think she's
Hart family, more like fart family stuff. Oh, I'm Vince McMahon.
Well, I mean, you hear stories about the Hart Dungeon. Stu used to use a fucking spatula, flip cat shit all over the place. So maybe that was what's giving her the runs the entire time.
But anyhow, last career retrospective for the match.
Thank you, Hart Family Dungeon.
We'll go on to lose the belt to one of the Bellas on a random Raw, and then eventually, just kind of did her thing for a while. Eventually turned heel, joined up with John Laurinaitis, was the Divas champion a couple of times, left the business entirely in 2013. She became that's a real estate agent, but some type of business thing. That's the same thing. I think like a house designer or something. Now she's like,
does she have any mogul affiliates?
And then eventually, she did. She's like a trainer with her husband at some type of martial arts dojo and all that type of stuff.
Oh, damn!
Has Eve made an appearance in the Rumbles?
No,
no, but she's made appearances. She has showed up at the Hall of Fame.
Can she come back so I can see what she does in karate?
I was gonna say. There's someone you can bring back. I mean, just side note, we got Ivory's right to censor last year. I kind of want, since Brooks Jensen's in NXT now, I want Bull Buchanan's right to censor gimmick this year.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah. True.
Next we have...
Get all right to censor in the Rumble.
Next, Daniel Bryan and Gail Kim were backstage. Daniel Bryan gets interviewed about being in the Royal Rumble match. To give the behind the scenes, Daniel Bryan... the Bellas were having a competition to see who could have sex with Daniel Bryan, and then we found out all along Daniel Bryan
was really likes the Asians, apparently.
Yeah. Yes. And I think I'm pretty sure this was in real life. Him and Brie get together, obviously, because the storyline was a thing. So I
was gonna say when I was watching the show, I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot. Like that starts here."
Yeah.
So they had a domestic dispute, and Brian got hit, and then she's like, "I like how she hits," and then they got together. Yeah. Is that what you're telling me? Oh, you slap good. Yeah, you remind me of Minoru Suzuki. I'ma fuck you later.
But anyhow,
pretty much.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan gets interviewed about winning the Royal Rumble match. The Bellas come up. Wish them luck.
It's ironic. He looked at Gail Kim thinking she'd be the one to remind him of Minoru, but nope, looks can be deceiving. It was really Brie Bella all along.
Oh yeah, the Bellas.
Gail Kim had the looks. Fucking Brie Bella had the striking ability.
Yeah. But yeah, the Bellas hand them roses and wish them luck in the Rumble, and eventually they make a comment saying it makes sense why Daniel Bryan would want to date somebody like you. And Gail Kim's like, what is that supposed to mean? And it leads to somehow them getting into a big brawl that they struggle to break up. Poor Daniel Bryan, he was getting destroyed before the Rumble match and everything like that too. So, And yeah,
Daniel Bryan.
nothing.
Who knew he would be a chick magnet?
Yeah, this is obviously a way for. I think Vince obviously thought this was funny because he thought Daniel Bryan was a nerd. He's like, oh, how can a nerd like Daniel Bryan get all these women right here? So,
in reality, he married one of the women that Vince paired him up with. So
I know. So it ended up working out.
Yeah.
Obviously, this was dropped shortly afterwards. The Gail Kim and Daniel Bryan thing was just never mentioned again for reasons.
Because she said I'm gonna eliminate myself from Battle Royal and go right back to TNA because fuck this shit. And you know what? Fair fucking play, because that's exactly how she should. She has such a high standard of herself.
I think that was the year before, right?
No, that was this year.
That was
later this year.
That was later on this year.
Yeah, and then Gail Kim went and did a thing at TNA, finished her career there, pretty much had a few Knockouts title reigns and a Knockouts tag title reigns, and obviously now is she's retired as a wrestler, at least at this moment, and on screen she's like an authority figure, mainly for the Knockouts division.
Yeah, she is, like and actually in kayfabe she's booked the Knockouts division, and it's the best booked women's division in North America, period, bar none. Actually, currently right now, so.
I think the Knockouts division in TNA has really always had a pretty high standard. I mean, WWE with their NXT call-ups when the Women's Revolution first really started was comparable. AEW. Let's just talk about the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Okay. To be fair, AEW is much better in a much better spot than it was.
Yes, I mean, I think Jamie Hayter over Britt Baker is the right way to go.
Well, they're turning them face and they're turning the others heel, which is a fucking crazy way they did that lately. So I'll give them credit.
I mean, obviously, it's one of those things where it's okay to be predictable. I guess we'll get in sidetrack, but that's fine. Obviously,
welcome to Wrestling Fortune 44. We sidetrack all the time.
Yeah.
Obviously, Britt Baker will turn on Jamie Hayter at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Everyone knows it.
I'm not sure if they will now. I think Britt and maybe not right away, but I think Britt and Jamie are going to be the faces for the long haul for a while.
I think they'll be faces for a while, but eventually it's going to get to that point of it happens, and it won't be for a while, but when it happens, it'll happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But that'll be that. And as per usual, Jade Cargill is the most overrated wrestler on the face of the planet. Thank you.
Hey, I actually like Jade.
But anyhow,
I don't think she's undefeated TBS champion good by a long shot.
Maybe not, but who else are they going to do that with, though? You know what I mean? I'll say this, man. Jade has very much fucking improved.
Oh, she's improved. I'm not gonna say she hasn't.
That counter into the goddamn Jaded is iconic. I'm sorry, like that counter was fucking brutal.
It'll be interesting to see who they have beat her. I mean, they could have Britt Baker in the meantime while their faces step down and be like from the main picture and be like, hey, you know what? We haven't fought yet, and I can beat you.
Yeah.
Or you could go the old TNA route of having a former WWE person do it. Oh my gosh, who's that? It's Giant Axe. It's Giant Axe is in AEW.
Oh my god. Well, I was gonna say.
Oh god, here it comes. Here it comes. The nose breaking fist.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I was actually gonna say you could just have people from Impact and Stardom like come in and challenge her and actually
that'd be good.
Incredible wins.
I recently found out.
Love to see her and Camille. Love to see her and Camille.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That'd be nice. I did recently find out. Apparently, Sasha Banks or Mercedes Moné, whichever your preference is, wants nothing to do with AEW. Apparently.
Yeah, that's it.
Which was interesting.
To be honest,
said she's strictly a New Japan person.
I think the reason why is because she doesn't want to even. Keep in mind that Punk was obviously trying to talent scout for fucking Mercedes, and then when the Punk situation happened and that whole thing happened, I think she made the conscious effort to say, yeah, women's wrestling in North America, I'm good. I'm going to just stay in Japan for a bit.
I think it could be that. I think it could be a fear of if I go to AEW, am I burning my bridge with WWE? Which I don't think it is. But with Vince in charge, possibly in charge, I mean, you don't know. I think she's more. I think
he legally can't be. He's there to facilitate a sale.
I think it's more of a for her. I think it's more of a thing of she just wants to focus on herself, and New Japan probably provides that better than AEW does. Because I think one of the complaints with AEW's women's division you see is it's all centered around either Britt and Hayter or it's centered around Jade. You know, if she's not going to go there and get a decent spotlight, she's not going to want to go there.
Yeah, and,
for sure.
And, you know, though, the fact that we just had this conversation means the women's division is in a far better place than what it was back in 2011. So
for sure. Career retrospective for the Bellas, though. We already did that in Survivor Series 2013, so go watch that video. So now let's go over the Royal Rumble match. The biggest stories going into the Rumble match was
Nexus versus Core.
Nexus versus Core. The new Nexus were going to help CM Punk win. They were obviously building up Alberto Del Rio for that spot. And they obviously, the biggest thing is that John Cena was possibly going to win because they were teasing him versus The Miz at WrestleMania 27. So let's go over the Rumble match. Numbers 1 and 2. Well, we thought it was number 1 at first was Monday Night Raw's CM Punk, but then the Core come out. They had done stuff on Raw before this where, they got into it a little bit on the Go Home episode of Raw. This was obviously stemming from when CM Punk kicked Wade Barrett out of the Nexus. And the Core beat up Punk. The new Nexus went out and make the save. Somehow it was a fair fight, even though the new Nexus had the numbers game, but whatever.
Well,
and
I guess their logic was, Ezekiel Jackson counts for 2 people, so
even though Mason Ryan was one of the people that was opposing them, the Core anyway.
He only counts for 1 3/4.
Yeah, but anyhow,
I would be remiss. My brother asked me to do this. So this is the booking decision of one half of the OG Me Machine, Chris Chaos.
Oh, boy.
Well, we'll go with Chris Steiner for continuity purposes. My brother said...
I assume this is you or your brother.
This is my brother's booking decision, and he's said it to me for years whenever we talk about this Rumble, is when the Core and the Nexus ran down, rather than the Raw GM going, yeah, get out. It's just happened. Okay, tell you what, I'm going to push everyone from numbers 1 to 8 back a number until whoever's going to come out, except for you guys. Like, if number 2 was a non-Nexus, non-Core member, they're now number 9. We're going to give you guys all that allotted time to just duke it out.
Yeah, that would have been better than...
And then you have like 10 minutes of them just finally getting it all out. And then, you can have them still be going, and then, number 9 comes out, and they just all toss them out. And then eventually you get, a big number like Cena or, Khali coming out, and they start cleaning house.
I think it was better. I think it was better that they bum rushed it and teased us with doing it now and not do it later, because it would have ruined the rest of the flow of the Rumble, actually.
Well, especially, too, I say this with this is the benefit of hindsight, though, because they never come back to this later.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
that's probably why.
Which sucks, because it's okay, this actually was semi-interesting, but the problem is they booked the Nexus to death so bad that any variation... no, just in general the Nexus. I include the Core in that, too.
Okay.
That any variation of this was going to suck.
Yeah,
it was going to die a death. And the sad thing about it is you look at the way they built it, and fuck, I lost my train of thought. I had a point I was gonna fucking make, and now I fucking forgot it. I don't know why.
Well, we'll go through the Rumble, and if you remember it, you can just tell us about it. But the GM just tells them to get out. Michael Cole says if they don't get... Well, the GM, through Michael Cole, says that if they don't get out, they'll be disqualified from the Rumble match. I say this because then Michael Cole has Matt Striker say the rules of the Rumble match, one of the rules Matt Striker says is there's no disqualification to the Royal Rumble match. So it's like how does that make any sense?
Yeah, tell that to Finley.
Oh, we talked about that in 2008. So.
Yeah, that made no sense. Yeah, it was bad.
Hey, Al Snow, Raven, get a load of this.
Yeah.
Al Snow, Raven, Kane in 2001.
And of course, the world's most dangerous wrestler of all time, Steve Blackman.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, they say Steve Blackman once threw a grenade, killed 30 people, and then the grenade went off.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
When Steve Blackman does push-ups, it's actually the Earth doing push-downs. Steve Blackman hides under the boogeyman's bed.
Oh, that's it.
But no,
all right,
fucking...
I'll stop at my Blackman jokes for now.
Yeah, but no, fucking I think I somewhat remember is that because the Nexus was so badly booked, I don't think there was a way to salvage that. Like, this was the best way to do it. It's really bad because it was so badly bundled that the Gang Wars from 1997 was more over than this.
For sure.
And that says a lot. Because I'll tell you right now, at least for a good number of fucking weeks, when they had Gang Wars, that at least got some fucking reactions when they did the splinter groups.
Yeah, Survivor Series Gang War, a show that was remembered for absolutely nothing else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But going through the rest of the Rumble, everyone goes to the back except CM Punk because he was actually the number one entrant, which is weird that the Raw GM knew that. I don't know how. I guess he organized the numbers somehow. But number 2 was Monday Night Raw's United States champion Daniel Bryan. It was really cool to see them go at it because this is the first time they went at it in WWE. Obviously, commentary ruins this because they make fun of the hardcore fans that we love this. So take a lot of commentary.
Who gives a fuck about the internet fan? Yeah, that was Vince's call for sure.
Yeah, but they got to go at it for a little bit. They tried to ruin it, I should say, but I feel like just seeing Punk and Bryan go at it enough didn't ruin it.
Well, Owen, we didn't hear it at first, so they can go fuck themselves.
They go at it. They had some really good altercations together. Obviously, they didn't do too much together because they did a match and stuff later on in 2012. Number 3 was SmackDown's Justin Gabriel. He comes out for a bit.
I wish they kept him in longer because they gave him nothing here.
Yeah, he does some stuff. He goes for the 450 splash. He misses. Daniel Bryan hits a really cool back suplex onto the outside, which was cool, but I wish he could have been in a little longer. Then Punk and Bryan go back at it for a bit. Number 4 is Monday Night Raw's Zack Ryder. This is obviously before he breaks out and stuff, so he's still kind of not over yet. He comes out. He does some cool stuff. He goes to go for, I don't know if it was called the Rough Rider at the time, but the jumping leg lariat onto Bryan, but Bryan throws him over his head and he ends up hitting Punk, which was cool. And it causes Daniel Bryan to eliminate Zack Ryder. Number 5 was Monday Night Raw's William Regal. This was awesome. This was magic, seeing Regal, Punk, and Bryan go at it. And I love this so much. Regal hits a really cool reverse half and half on Punk and hit a knee tremolo on him. Bryan and Regal go at it for a bit. Number 6 was Monday Night Raw's Ted DiBiase Jr. with Maurice
who actually got some decent shine here.
Yeah, this is a shame though. I should mention because he was meant to be like the next big thing out of the legacy, and unfortunately, it was really nothing.
It sucks because in the ring he had all the tools. It's just they tried to make him. They tried to make him DiBiase 2.0. That was the problem.
Yeah. But yeah, they do some stuff. During this, Daniel Bryan hits some really stiff kicks on Regal, which was awesome. Number 7 was Monday Night Raw's John Morrison. And at this point right here, I believe, to bury SmackDown a little bit, Matt Striker says, we haven't seen any SmackDown guys come out for a while. Like, there's no SmackDown representation up until the later end. Jerry Lawler actually tries to save it by saying that maybe this is a good thing for SmackDown because they come out the later numbers and all that type of stuff. But still not a good utilization that we haven't seen any SmackDown representation except for Justin Gabriel. And he was eliminated really quickly. I think that we should mention this was kind of when the original brand split was starting to jump the shark because they were just really burying SmackDown at this time.
Oh, big
Yeah.
time. Big time they were burying SmackDown. It
But
was
yeah, number
bad.
7, Monday Night Raw's John Morrison. John Morrison was obviously really starting to break out at this time. He had just beat Ken Sheamus in that ladder match to become number 1 contender for the title. Had a really good performance with The Miz. So there was actually rumors that he could possibly win this Rumble match. And he does some really good stuff in this match. He had some really cool athletic moves. Eventually,
Who was rumored? Who was
no, I'm
rumored?
saying he wasn't rumored. There was a possible chance he could have won this Rumble match. I'm saying,
Who?
John Morrison.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a spot where he gets put on the apron, and Ted DiBiase Jr. knocks him off, and he catches himself onto the barricade. His feet are not on the floor. Unfortunately, I didn't see this because where I was sitting in the balcony seats, I was across from it, and you couldn't see this happen. You had to look through the screen for this to happen, but it was still cool. And he picks himself up. This distracts Regal, which allows Ted DiBiase Jr. to eliminate him. And Morrison runs across the barricade, jumps onto the steps. He ends up kicking Regal in the head on the way before he gets back in the ring.
Yeah,
And
this was so cool, man. Like, it sucks because then they give it these spots to Kofi, which,
he gets
don't get
released.
me wrong, he's great in the role, but man, like, John, you can tell those spots were made for John Morrison now as opposed to Kofi.
I mean, I think nowadays you can there are a lot of guys you could give it to. I could see Ricochet pulling something off, for example.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot.
I think you'll see something this year where, like, I think he's done it a couple times now. Otis has kind of played that role. He did it for Mandy Rose. I think you could see Chad Gable get knocked off, and then Otis just catches him.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Tosses him right back in the ring. So I've always wanted to see a spot where, like, someone will toss someone out, and then someone will, like, toss them back in, then they just get caught and
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. That would be nice. Yeah.
Number 8 was Monday Night Raw's Yoshitatsu. He looked pretty okay in this Rumble. He doesn't get a whole lot of time to shine, but he at least lasts a while.
I will say there's at one point where Tatsu does get a lot of offense because Daniel Bryan and him have a kicking competition.
That was cool.
I forget who it was that they were kicking the shit out of, but like they're just kicking the shit. I think it was DiBiase. They're just kicking the fuck out of this dude. Like, doing yes kicks to the guy. Poor guy getting fucking screwed up. Poor Ted DiBiase.
Number 9 was Monday Night Raw's Husky Harris, first of the new Nexus. He comes in and immediately defends Punk. And everyone tries to go at him, which was cool. Number 10 was SmackDown's Chavo Guerrero. Chavo Guerrero got a really good pop here. He actually turns face somehow in this Rumble match. I
think it's just because he hadn't been seen for a while at this point. He comes out and I remember he runs right down, does the Three Amigos. He's doing the Latino Heat taunt, so obviously getting Eddie chant going.
Yep.
So now everyone's rooting for Chavo.
Nice. This was the workhorse part of the Rumble. Let's just call it what it is, which is why I'm glad they didn't do the Nexus Core thing. Because it would have really dragged this Rumble, I think. This was a better utilization of the first start of the Rumble.
Number 11 was Monday Night Raw's Mark Henry. Number 12 was SmackDown's JTG. I honestly didn't even know it was SmackDown. I thought it was Raw. Number 13 was Monday Night Raw's Michael McGillicuddy.
Yeah,
number
by the
14,
way, JTG gets fucked over, eliminated quickly.
Yeah, he does. Number 14 was SmackDown's Chris Masters. Number 15 was Monday Night Raw's David Otunga. Going through the eliminations now, I just figured I'd say all the numbers. New Nexus go on this really good run eliminating people. Like you mentioned, JTG gets eliminated really quickly, which really sucks, and I thought he could have done some good stuff in the Rumble.
We didn't even see one to shout out, which was the Sling Blade that he would overdo.
CM Punk eliminates Daniel Bryan, which was cool. Obviously, they go after Mark Henry. They have Husky Harris do an assisted splat to Mark Henry in the corner, and it allows everyone just works together to eliminate him. And everyone just starts eliminating the rest of the guys in the match. I thought they protected John Morrison very well in elimination, though, because it was probably him that the new Nexus up to that point struggled the most to get out. So I thought they protected John Morrison pretty well. Shame nothing really comes of this, but
Yeah.
then it's just the new Nexus in the ring, and they're just waiting for the next guy to come out. And the next guy is SmackDown's Tyler Rex. This was a bad spot for Tyler Rex here because he was always talked about how he was meant to be the next big thing on SmackDown. I remember Todd Grisham on Superstars would always talk about how he took the Big Show off his feet at Survivor Series, and I was thinking to myself, okay, so what's he done lately? He didn't win any matches. He was just doing nothing.
Yeah, Cena said it looks like the attitude adjustment. Bury him. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah. So the new Nexus destroy him. They eliminate him. Next is Monday Night Raw's one half of the WWE Tag Team Champions, Vladimir Kozlov.
Steve, you were trying to say something?
I was going to say, just for the record, the next two people that come out, it's that new Nexus elimination spree continues. It stops for number. It's going to keep going for a little bit.
Number 18 is Monday Night Raw's R-Truth. I forgot to ask.
If we didn't say it, 17 was Vladimir Kozlov.
Yeah.
Who,
nowadays is just.
By the way, can we talk about Vladimir? He's doing a fucking goddamn Olympic sprint to the ring.
Yeah.
Like, this dude's
he's
running.
been doing like legitimate judo training, and like if you ever watch the Where Are They Nows, like he's talking about it like, oh yeah, like I just do judo training, and like see these videos of him just beating the living shit out of people.
Dude,
the dude's nuts.
I ain't even gonna lie. If I saw what he was like now, I'd hire him back somewhere in the industry. I feel like if nothing else, now that Santino's in the officer over in Impact now, like he should bring back his old running buddy, and because he's fucking really good now. Like shit.
Well, I mean, I personally like to see if WWE brought him back, maybe pair him with Ilya Dragunov.
That'd be cool,
bro.
The man who, when he comes back,
could you imagine? Hold on, could you imagine right now, modern current times, Vladimir Kozlov versus Walter?
Ooh, that'd be.
I was about to say, eventually when Ilya's better, I think he's coming to the main roster for Gunta.
Or maybe they just pair them all up together in the fucking same fashion. They're all Imperium. I'm cool with that.
That'd be cool.
I'd be cool with that. Vladimir and Ilya. Yeah.
Let's do a trivia thing. Do you remember what the dark match right before the Rumble match on this show was?
Let me guess. It was Santino and Vladimir.
Side note: I just looked. Vladimir Kozlov is actually Impact Wrestling's Russian translator for commentary.
Okay. Really?
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah. They debuted in 2021, and they have them do it sporadically.
I really hope that Santino realizes this and fucking recommends he gets hired, because I think he's got some fucking upside to him now. Isn't he like a big movie star too? Wasn't he like?
Yes, he also is the owner. He's also the owner and creator of the Moscow Mauler vodka. So
anyhow,
I guess in other words, he's the Russian Stone Cold Steve Austin.
This motherfucker's doing bits, isn't he? God damn, good for Vladimir, man. Good for him.
But Steve, little trivia. Do you remember what the dark match for the 2011 Royal Rumble was? Since we were the only ones that probably saw it.
It was a tag team title.
R-Truth.
Yep.
Versus Kurt Hawkins.
Yeah.
Huh?
That was the dark match. Because R-Truth comes out. Monday Night Raw's R-Truth comes out here and he gets eliminated pretty quickly.
Oh, jeez.
Next.
And unfortunately for the new Nexus, the next entrant put a stop to it for all of a minute.
But yeah,
that was the Great Ali.
Monday Night was the Great Ali.
I just want to point out, though, that despite all of this, right, this fucking Rumble was being booked perfectly so far. Like, it is being really well booked. Because you got your fucking jobbers that come out that they get eliminated right away by a big-ass faction like the New Nexus. And Punk is doing his thing. He's taunting, all that shit. What's up? Gets rid of Truth. Gets rid of a bunch of people. And
If you think about it, by the way, too, let's talk about this. CM Punk has a really good stretch in both Rumbles back to back. 2010 with his Straight Edge Society thing, and then here with the new
2011, yeah.
Nexus.
And so they just kept it going.
Yes, and
Minus
with the great call,
minus the JTG thing, but continue, Steve.
I'm gonna say, for all the shit Kali's gotten over the years, I genuinely want him to show up in the Rumble this year because I want the Omos Kali stare down.
That'd be pretty cool, yeah.
And if you want to get Omos over a little bit more, you have him get Kali up for a slam and then toss him over.
I think they just need to reunite the goddamn Hurt Business and have everybody that MVP's ever managed in one fucking faction. That's just me.
That'd be cool.
It will happen, but Great Kali doesn't last too long because at number 20 we get Mason Ryan.
Well, first though,
the Great Kali.
First, the Great Kali comes out. He actually eliminates a new Nexus member. He eliminates Husky Harris, and then Mason Ryan comes out.
He does,
yeah,
but Mason Ryan comes out.
Was smart the way they did that. So it looked like there was a chance that the new Nexus was going to get eliminated, and then they got Mason Ryan over. Huge.
Yeah.
Yes, and obviously Mason Ryan comes out and is dominating, and now we got 3 of the 4 members of the new Nexus in, and crowd absolutely comes unglued for number 21, the return from TNA of Booker T.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was awesome. Obviously, commentary tries to ruin it because Matt Striker says this is like a mark-out moment and all this type of stuff.
Well, no,
but,
no, he wasn't trying to ruin it. It's that fucking Cole wanted to fucking ruin it because Vince McMahon didn't like that Matt Striker said marking out on commentary.
Yeah. So then, Booker T comes out. He's a house on fire. He does all his big moves and everything like that. Then eventually when he does a spin-a-rooney, he gets eliminated by Mason Ryan. And the reaction on Booker T's face is hilarious when he gets eliminated. It's really funny. He has like those big eyes and everything like that.
It was essentially him looking at Mason Ryan saying, "Tell me
you
didn't just do that."
Yeah. I hate it. This is where it started to fall off because I genuinely think they should have kept Booker in. Booker should have fended them off until Cena came down, so that way it was Ruthless Aggression era, like trying to take down the fucking new Nexus crew, right? Like that's what it should have been, and it just wasn't because they eliminated Book. I personally think too quickly.
Yeah.
Number
20. The number 22 is Monday Night Raw's John Cena, and one final time before the feud ends, John Cena buries the Nexus again. I know I said
he does.
I know the Nexus.
Which is why I said Booker should have stayed because then at least it's 2 people eliminating it, not just 2.
Yeah, Cena eliminates the entire faction before him and Punk have their face off.
Which, by the way, the crowd was into when Punk and Cena were staring down even then.
Yeah. But they were clearly getting all the heat on the wheel just for Cena, which made that bit of the Rumble really useless that they were just going to do that for Cena. It's like the Nexus could never get anything. They could never get any heat. Then number 23, SmackDown's Hornswoggle. I don't know why they put Hornswoggle in this Rumble.
I enjoyed it for the humor that it was, which is why I said if they kept Booker T, could you imagine like Hornswoggle attempting a spin-a-rooney? That'd be fucking cool. That would be funny.
I don't think he should have been. I don't think he should have been in it. But I will say, Hornswoggle, Dylan, Moog, Potsy really does a good job just taking the piss. You can just tell he's generally having a good time in there.
Oh, yeah.
I talked about it in the retro in 08 with. I think a lot of people give a lot of shit to Hornswoggle just because of all the stuff. And it really isn't his fault. He really loved being there, and I can't hate that. And if you listen to like his shoot interviews, he's just a really cool dude behind the scenes and all that type of stuff. Like, and Cena eliminate.
Like you have a comment you want to say, Steve. Go on.
I was gonna say, if there's anyone, I forget who does it. The interviews with whoever does like, is this person a dick? Is this person nice? Interview.
Sean Oliver. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say if there's anyone who I kind of would take as gospel, I think Hornswoggle would be my choice.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like he's definitely going to tell you exactly how it is, unbiased. Just like, you know what? It wasn't just to me if this person was a dick.
Then Cena eliminates Punk with the AA. And him and Hornswoggle work together. Number 24 was Monday Night Raw's Tyson Kidd. I understand what they were doing here, and this spot was fine enough, but Tyson Kidd should not have been sacrificed for this spot. They should have sacrificed somebody else. But yeah, Cena and Hornswoggle work together. Cena does an attitude adjustment, and Hornswoggle does a mini version of the attitude adjustment, and Cena eliminates Tyson Kidd. Number 25 is SmackDown's Heath Slater. And they beat him up and eliminate Heath Slater. Number 26 is SmackDown's Intercontinental Champion, Kofi Kingston. This was kind of cool seeing like Kofi Kingston and John Cena lock up. I completely forgot this happened.
Yeah.
And
the Boston boys, actually, I didn't even think about that because they're both from Boston.
Yeah, I liked seeing them go at it. I think they have had a proper match. If I had to think of when they would have, it would have been doing that U.S. Open Challenge stuff that Cena was doing. Yeah, I really wish they would have done like a full-on pay-per-view program, honestly, between like Cena and Kofi Kingston.
Yeah, for sure. That would have been cool.
They go at it for a bit. The number 27 is SmackDown's Jack Swagger. This was kind of a lame. This was kind of a lame version of Jack.
I used to have a joke where it'd be like, "Jack, you okay? I think my heart's stopping. Hold on, I gotta reset it." Okay, it's beating again.
Do it again because I didn't have the page open.
And don't forget, he asks you to get down on your knees all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Like the whole idea of Jack Swagger's theme, because I'm a perverted fuck sometimes, is he wants a blowjob.
Well, actually, it was originally going to be Vince's new theme, but, you know, given current events, they didn't want to give it to him.
Yeah. But anyhow, Jack Swagger does some cool stuff in the match. Number 28 was Monday Night Raw's King Sheamus. Before Sheamus comes out, actually, Swagger and Hornswoggle go at it, and Hornswoggle hits a sweet chin music into a mini stunner, which was pretty cool.
That was that was pretty cool.
So then it's Monday Night Raw's King Sheamus. He doesn't come out with the King of the Winter time mainly because he doesn't have the time to put that stuff on. So he's just Sheamus, kind of.
Well, it's a shameful thing that he couldn't put it on.
It's a shameful thing. Lobster head.
Who could wind up bread? Too many limes. Too many limes.
Too many limes. Too many limes. Where's my Sprite?
King Sheamus starts attacking everybody. Eventually, Hornswoggle tries to go up on the top turnbuckle. Sheamus takes him off with... It was supposed to be a blow kick, but it was more of just a kick to the head. And obviously, Swoggle, I think, was too scared to take a full-on bump, so instead he just falls to the apron and then takes the bump, which was fine enough.
To be fair, yeah. By the way, can we also bring up... So, at some point, McIntyre comes in, and they literally start building a team up between these two called the Celtic Connection.
Yeah, that's coming up pretty soon.
Okay.
Number 29 is SmackDown's Rey Mysterio. They had mentioned this was the latest that Rey Mysterio ever entered the Royal Rumble match, which was crazy. I like how he finally gets like a late spot, like a 29 spot. And this is the year they do the 40-man Rumble. The year that he finally can get like a later spot in the Rumble. I think that's hilarious.
I mean, hey, what's the worst that can happen with Rey coming out late at like number 30, right?
Oh my gosh.
FYI, not his fault.
No, not ever his fault.
But anyhow, he does a cool spot here where he hangs Swagger up somehow in the middle rope.
Yeah.
And he hits a 619 on Swagger, which causes him to get eliminated. I thought that was a cool spot. Number 30 is SmackDown's Wade Barrett. I hated that Claw's theme song at the time. They changed their theme song like 4 times.
And it was all the same fucking lyrics and song.
To the Barrett Barrage.
Number 31 was SmackDown's Dolph Ziggler. And he was holding his ribs from the World Heavyweight Championship match earlier in the show. And then
perfection.
Number 32 comes out. And it's free agent Diesel. Now let's also mention too, Booker T and Diesel had just left TNA. Well, Diesel more than Booker T. Booker T had been gone for a little bit, but Diesel had just left TNA. Everyone thought
we might as well talk about this now because both Booker T and Diesel were trying to get brought back so they could reform the Main Event Mafia. They wanted to reform it so that way they could go up against, I think, Immortal at the time. Obviously, that changed into Aces and Eights, and they did it with a new crew. That
changed with Fortune. They turned Fortune babyface, and they left Immortal. That's what you think.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Who is it they're trying to get back?
They were trying to get Diesel and Booker T to go back to reform the Main Event Mafia to go up against Immortal, but then they changed it to...
okay.
They had Fortune turn babyface coming out of it.
Because
it's funny.
The Main Event Mafia was dead.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, too...
go ahead. Go ahead, Steve.
I say for all they did in WCW together, you could say Hogan ran Nash out of another company.
Yeah.
Yeah, but too.
I think the funny thing was, too, right before they even show up and everything like that, they teased for months that it was going to be the Main Event Mafia. They started the storyline thinking they were going to get Booker T and Diesel back, and then they went to WWE and they had to change it to Fortune.
Right.
But, yeah, Diesel comes out, and the match just stops. Matt Stryker says, holy shit, and obviously they bleep it out because it's PG, which we didn't hear at the time, but it was still really cool.
Did he say holy shit, or did he censor himself?
Oh, no, he said holy shit on the live broadcast when they did it back. They edited it.
That's what.
For as loud as it was when Booker T came out, the explosion was just even louder for Diesel.
They finally got Diesel over after all those years.
Yes.
But we should mention these, even though we all knew these returns, because these returns were leaked out ahead of time, everyone still reacted just the same and all that type of stuff.
Right.
But yeah, Diesel comes in and he cleans house. He goes at it with Wade Barrett. And I think the reason they did that was because I'm pretty sure Diesel in real life shot on Wade Barrett for using using hair dye to color his gray hairs and all that type of stuff. So that was cool that they did something together.
Yeah, I will say, I remember the day of the Rumble, Diesel, like a video came out of Kevin Nash in Boston, and he played it off very good. He's like, oh, hey, Nash, you hear the Rumble's in town tonight? And like, he didn't try to play off the, I had no idea. I was like, yeah, it's in town tonight. I'm actually in town to film a movie, hence why I've dyed my hair black, and then I will be at the event tonight, but I'm just watching from a box.
Yeah.
Like, that was actually a pretty good playoff. Like, rather than, I might watch it, it was like, I'm going to be there tonight. I'm not in it. I'm just watching.
Yeah. And then he came out.
Number 33 was SmackDown's Drew McIntyre. And this is where they do that team up of Drew McIntyre and Wade Barrett. No, sorry. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. What was it that they called him? I don't even remember.
The Celtic Connection.
Celtic Connection, but now they're called the Boehner Bros.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they're called the Boehner Bros now because Sheamus.
Banger, yeah. Because they have banger after banger after banger.
Why? Oh no.
Believe it or not, James, I understand your feelings on the name. Believe it or not, the name's actually gotten over pretty well.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
But I'm sure it has because of the people involved. But for the fuck's sake, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, Banger Bros don't sound appealing.
Number 34 was Monday Night Raw's Alex Riley, who came out with The Miz, and The Miz goes on commentary. And if you thought the commentary was bad enough, once The Miz gets out there, it goes up even worse. And it's not because of The Miz, because Michael Cole, you thought Michael Cole was fat before.
By the way, they eliminate Diesel right away, too. And then they have a stare down between Big Show and Diesel. Why did they eliminate Diesel if they were going to have the Big Show and Diesel in the same fucking Rumble?
Yeah. And I think the worst part about
this is where the Rumble fell apart here.
I remember they stared down, but they also, if I remember correctly, too sweeted each other as kind of a NWO show of respect.
I don't think it showed it on camera, but I do remember that happening live, though. But I think the worst part about it is because the Miz is on commentary, they don't talk about the Rumble really at all because Michael Cole's too busy fantasizing over the Miz. They actually
fantasizing over the Miz's warm, hot, golden body. Yeah, we know what he was doing.
But they missed. They didn't even call.
He wanted that awesome stick, you know.
They didn't even call Diesel's elimination.
The Miz, his wife, is going to be murdered by a motorcycle gang.
Oh my gosh! But they didn't even call Diesel's elimination. Matt Striker has to call it later, like 10 minutes later, and Michael Cole says, "Yeah, I talked about that 10 minutes ago," and I was like, "No, you didn't. You never mentioned it. You never mentioned it."
You ain't said shit.
Continuing.
Commentary sucks.
Number 35 was SmackDown's The Big Show, which was the face-off between Diesel and The Big Show. He comes in, looks pretty good. He eliminates Dolph Ziggler, and I thought Ziggler was pretty well protected here because he had just had a match earlier and stuff. They didn't mention that, but it would have been nice. Number 36 was SmackDown's Ezekiel Jackson. He eliminates.
There will be no stopping. Woo-wee!
He eliminates the Big Show pretty easily. I didn't necessarily mind this spot, but it's like they just repeated the spot they did with Mason Ryan earlier. It's like, why are you doing the same thing all over again? It was really weird.
Because there will be no stopping.
Yeah. And afterwards, Matt Striker says this bad line on commentary where he says, because of the Jackson's appearance now, several nations are appearing in the Rumble. And obviously you could say, well, that's probably true, but he's saying that because that's what his theme song is. It's like, oh my gosh, it was such a... Honestly, I think Vince fed him that line. It was such a bad line.
Yeah, so many nations have represented the Rumble. Nice one. Cool, yeah, worldwide. Yeah. Now, if only you did something with half the fucking talent!
Yeah.
Worldwide?
Number 37 was Monday Night Raw's the other half of the WWE.
I prefer World Slide.
Number 37 was Monday Night Raw's the other half of the WWE Tag Team Champion, Santino Marella. He comes in. He immediately gets bro kicked by Sheamus. And
how many nations does that represent now? Because Italy's there, even though he's not from Italy.
Yeah. Michael Cole made mention that this is the longest time Santino Marella had ever been in a Royal Rumble match, which it was. Number 38 was SmackDown's Alberto Del Rio. I say that because he was on Raw later in the year.
Which, fun fact, translates to Albert the River.
Albert what?
Albert the River.
So he was a river?
Yes. I can double check to make sure that still hasn't changed.
He was a river. Albert the River. Can we just call him that for the rest of his career now? Just Albert the River.
Albert the River.
Yeah. Okay, correction. Del Rio means from the river, so he's Albert from the river.
He's living in a fancy car down by the river.
I want to know.
My name is Albert from the river. Fucking Alberto hits page. Alberto hits page. Fucking Ricardo Rodriguez looks at him. He's like, Alberto, how do we get back on the right track? I hate this. Oh my god.
So Albert the River is
Albert from the river.
Albert from the river.
Albert from the river.
Yes, that was his name.
Albert from the river.
So Albert from the river comes out at number 38, and he makes a mistake because he takes too long to get across the river and into the ring. Because from out of the river pops up a sea snake, but this ain't no sea snake, it's a viper. And out at number 39 is Randy Orton, and Randy Orton just dead sprints down after Albert. He throws him off the ramp. He's beating the shit out of him. He tosses poor Albert into the ring. Albert's still soaking wet from all that river water. So they get in the ring. But you don't have to worry because all that water is about to dry up. At number 40, they all get dried off by the fire explosion of Kane's pyro because Kane comes out at number 40. Which the people at the show, it was very obvious because you immediately saw after Orton ran out They start putting the stuff in place like, gee, I wonder who number 40 is. They just put out fire equipment. I wonder who it could be.
It's K. It's gotta be K.
I think I'm good now.
Gotta be Kane.
Oh my god.
Doing this too, it was well placed though, because they teased that John Cena and Randy Orton were gonna go at it, and Kane came out right before then. Don't know why you were teasing it. We've seen Cena and Randy Orton go at it 1,000 times before. I don't know why that time was gonna be so much more special, but
because the main event of WrestleMania was on the line.
Yeah. So Kane comes out. He eliminates Ezekiel Jackson by low bridging him, which was cool. I thought that was a cool elimination by Kane. And then he immediately gets eliminated by Rey Mysterio.
It was a really cool elimination, to be fair. A really cool couple of eliminations. Because Rey countered, I think Kane was trying to go for a powerbomb, and he gets countered into the Hurricane Rana, and then he gets kneed right out of the ring by
Kane.
No, was it Barrett or McIntyre?
Oh yeah, he gets kneed by out of the ring by Barrett. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Drew McIntyre is already out by this point. We just missed his elimination.
Right,
he got eliminated.
Yeah.
He got eliminated by the Big Show. We missed his elimination. Big Show eliminated.
Man,
so.
It really should have been fucking Cena, because nobody else made sense.
Yeah.
Right.
So doing this. I believe it's doing Randy Orton and that whole thing where he's attacking Albert.
Yes. Poor
Albert. Alex Riley actually gets eliminated by John Cena and Kofi Kingston. However, they never show us elimination.
Because Kevin Dunn sucks at doing the fucking producing, always will!
No, that's actually not the case. I thought that they wanted to show it because he actually wasn't supposed to get eliminated there. Apparently that was a botch. So
it was. He was not supposed to go over.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
so he got eliminated, and he's kind of there. He's like, well, shit.
So, because he was supposed to eliminate Cena, which we'll talk about later. And if you could tell, like the Miz is kind of quiet because I think he has to plan a new strategy.
I honestly think the Miz was probably a little pissed off. It's like you had one fucking job, but to the Miz's credit, he improvised, and he improvised well. And it could have also been Vince improvising well and telling Michael Cole, since he obviously was in his ear, tell the Miz to do this, tell him to do it right now. Whatever it was, it worked because it furthered their storyline. Was after that elimination, the Miz just runs into the Rumble and dumps Cena, and Cena's eliminated.
In reality, Cena should have just won the whole thing because it would have fucking led to the same destination anyway, and plus you would have actually not false advertised that somebody was going into the main event of WrestleMania and not go into the main event.
We'll talk about that later. It's down to the final four, which was Cena, Orton, Barrett, and Del Rio, which we thought was the final four at the time. And then obviously the thing happens with Cena.
Man,
then
the League of Nations all over this Rumble.
Yeah.
Yes.
Randy Orton starts to make a comeback. He eliminates Wade Barrett, and then Del Rio immediately eliminates Randy Orton. They play his music. We think he's won the Rumble. However, referees are like, no, he didn't win the Rumble. Santino Marella comes in, lays out Santino Marella with the Cobra, and he goes to eliminate Del Rio, but he reverses it, and Del Rio eliminates Santino. That actually was a good spot right there.
That was a very good segment for as silly as Santino was at the time. I believe he was actually on one of the posters for this Rumble.
Yeah. And you were there, Steve. We should talk about that. The crowd went nuts whenever
the crowd was like, actually for a split second, like, oh my God, Santino Marella is going to win the Rumble.
Yeah.
Of course, he didn't, which sucked, but for that split second where it looked like he was going to, it was absolute pandemonium, but it was friggin' amazing.
Yeah. And that was the 2011 Rumble. Let's break this down. So James, you and I just watched the 2000. I almost said the 2020, the 2000 Royal Rumble.
Yes.
I think this was better than the Rumble match itself. I actually think was better than the 2000 Rumble. Yes, it's longer and stuff, but there is some good storytelling that happens.
The Rumble itself, I'd say three quarters of it were really good, and then it tailed. It just went on the nosedive by the end.
Yeah.
Whereas
I think this is what
the Rumble only had one good spot in the beginning with Too Cool, and the rest of it sucked.
Yeah,
Like they were just waiting for the Rock and Big Show, which was
So
like so
I
unimaginative.
can actually talk about that because on my personal time, I've actually been going through all the Rumbles right now, and I have watched 2000s.
Yeah. Oh yeah, just give us a quick talk about it.
Yeah. When I got to the Attitude Era, I was so ready for like, oh, these Rumbles are going to be awesome because just brief overview of the early Rumbles, skippable. It just might be because of the era in wrestling that I grew up with.
Except 92. Except 92.
Even 92. I thought 92 was good. I didn't think it was great, personally. And I do think that just comes down to the era of wrestling I grew up with.
I think 2001 is the best. Period.
I will say, 2001 is probably my pick for favorite. But when I got to 92, I did notice a difference in like, okay, I actually kind of care now because I think with the first few in that era, like you had like the jobbers of the era showing up, so I was just kind of like, all right, waiting for someone big. 92 was like all big names from like the 80s, early 90s, which is cool.
Yeah.
But then you get to the Attitude and Era, and you kind of get those jobbers, and you're once again, even for the Attitude Era, kind of just like, all right, went for a big name.
Yeah, that's really weird because like everybody was over around that time. It's just that I don't know the way they structured it. Nobody could get over and maintain their
I've heard it said before. The Attitude Era is actually not the easiest era to go back and watch. It's actually. Yeah, but
if it's because of the fucking sexual shit, I mean, it was the
time. It's not even that. It's just I think it was just the cards could be so varied. Like one week the mid cards could be great and then suck.
I want to not mention this. I want to not mention that had it not been for the Radicals, the WWE might have been a drag in 2000. Yeah. Because once the Radicals showed up, the in-ring product skyrocketed. I mean, considering the fact too, they already had Angle and X-Pac,
and Jericho.
Angle, X-Pac, Jericho. Like they had a good group of workers now that they could fucking rely on to have a good match.
Yes.
So,
but anyhow, going back to the 2011 Rumble, I think like the first half of the Rumble up until Cena comes out. Really good storytelling and everything like that. And then it kind of pivots for a bit. I would say like it picked back up again like once Cena and Kingston start going out and Diesel comes out and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, once the Miz gets on commentary and stuff, I think there's when the Rumble kind of takes a nosedive. And let's talk about this. Obviously, I say this. I know we know a lot about this guy since then, but I still thought this back then. I understand what they were trying to do here with Del Rio. They were trying to make the. I mean, you even watching this Rumble, he's clearly meant to be the next Eddie Guerrero with his entrance and everything like that.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be a fancy aristocrat version of Eddie Guerrero.
But you can't recreate Eddie Guerrero. They've tried, and you just can't. Especially Del Rio.
I don't even think it was necessarily the fact they were trying to correct or recreate Eddie. Obviously, they were trying to do something different with him. It's just, bro, you had so many bells and whistles on him that he wasn't over by himself. He never was over by himself, and I think Vince made the right call of stripping it because it really exposed that he wasn't over by himself.
Yeah. Especially
it was not.
Especially too in a perfect world, by the way, had the Nexus been booked right, it really should have been Cena that won this Rumble and go on to face Barrett for the title at WrestleMania.
Which would have been a better match if they booked it right, yeah.
Or, but since we're at where we're at, there was Cena still it should have been John Cena, since they did the Cena versus The Miz for the main event anyways. I think people would get pissed about that anyways, obviously, because obviously Cena's winning the Rumble again, but honestly, they didn't really have a choice. Wade Barrett to try to at least salvage what you have with him. And I feel like there's more of a chance. Honestly, you could put the belt on Barrett. Barrett really deserved a recovery push. John Morrison. That way you can get John Morrison versus The Miz for the title at Mania. The Miz doesn't get lost in the shuffle with that Cena box.
Del Rio was not the way to go because Del Rio's only rival up to that point was fucking Mysterio. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, he wasn't.
So, or I'm sorry, Albert from the River.
Albert from the River.
Yeah.
Well,
It's just the king of mystery.
Well, you could have gone crazy and do like, I know it would make the Rumble a joke, but do one of those crazy once in a lifetime storylines of having Santino win the Rumble. I feel like we remember this Rumble more, and maybe in a more of a positive light, having Santino win it. Like,
just for example, Vince won the '99 Rumble, and people complained about it at the time, but then in retrospect, they're like, "Hey, it worked itself out. It actually was probably the right call in the long game."
I mean, we've seen before, too, by the way, people win the Rumbles and they don't always challenge for the belts at WrestleMania. You could have had Santino win it and then they have Del Rio and Santino have like a #1 contenders match and have Del Rio.
Yeah, because the bell rang before when they thought Alberto won and then they forgot about Santino. And so the match should have officially been over when the bell rang, but it wasn't, and they continued the match and Santino won, and then they could have had that works.
Yeah, but they could have done more with it if they wanted to.
I just think that Del Rio winning, I get it. They were trying to push a new person, but it just it didn't really work. And no, it
didn't.
Yeah, especially too. The worst part about it, Del Rio winning had Cena on the, like you said, James. He didn't main event WrestleMania. He opened WrestleMania.
Real quick,
and
I'm just gonna test something real quick. Hello, testing 1 2 3.
Oh, this is a test.
I had to test my microphone because I was like wondering why I came in so low on my feed. Now I know why. It's because it was down low, but it's okay.
But anyhow, so Del Rio didn't even main event WrestleMania. He opened WrestleMania 27 that year. So
it made no sense. It really didn't make it a lot of fucking sense.
And like I talked about before, this was a new thing they added to the Rumble where it was 40. I think we talked about it. You can do a 40-man Rumble. I think you need to have better booking when it comes to it because the booking to the match, I feel like this was the first time they booked a 40-man Rumble. I think the booking kind of suffers because they did a 40-man Rumble a little bit because it didn't really seem like they knew what to do from like after CM Punk and his faction gets eliminated, the Rumble doesn't really, not much happens with the Rumble afterwards. So
yeah.
Before I go over the career retrospectives, because I got to do a lot of them this time, I give the Royal Rumble like 3 1/4. I thought it was pretty good. It's a tale of two Rumbles. I think the first half of it's awesome, and then it pivots, and then when it's really good doing Cena's end when Kofi comes out up till maybe about Diesel comes out and stuff, and then once the Miz comes out and does commentary, it's really bad and stuff. So I give it like 3 1/4. What did you think, Steve?
I still am of the mindset of having a 30-man Royal Rumble. A 40-man is the best way to go nowadays more than ever. Back then, at the end of the day, it was worth risking it to do that many guys. I think mistakes were made, clearly, but it's the first time you're ever doing it that much. So I think for every mistake that was made, can it be forgiven? Probably.
Yeah.
I don't think anything was monumentally done. The only big error was not even on the booking committee. It was just Alex Riley's hand placement. He slipped and they fixed it.
I should say,
Vince, it was fixed pretty quick. The Rumble, though, I'm going to give it... I'll stick with that rating of 3.5, I think.
Same.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. And I'm going to give it that extra half star for the fact that it was a 40-person Royal Rumble. So 3.5 is fair. I think
I agree.
Nowadays, more than ever, you almost have to do a 40-person minimum Royal Rumble. If not, have that whole Greatest Royal Rumble 50-person.
Yeah, because there's a lot of members on the roster now. Like, a lot.
Yeah. One thing I'll say,
so the roster is bigger now than it was then.
Way bigger, yeah.
You can, if you make the Rumble bigger, you can have more cross-brand appeal where you're having other companies get in on it,
Mm.
which obviously they proved with TNA last year with Mickey James.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think now more than ever would be a great time to bring back the big rumbles.
Yeah.
Two final things I'll say before I take it to James. Another critique I had with the Rumble is why it's down at 3 1/4. One person that should have been in the Rumble this year was Jerry Lawler, just because the whole storyline they were trying to do with him, he was trying to get to WrestleMania. It did not make sense for him at all to not be at least in the Rumble in some way, shape, or form.
I agree, actually. Yeah, Jerry should have been in it. Yeah. Jerry it would have been a good surprise entrant too.
Yeah. And then the second thing, the other time they should have done the 40-man one was 2016 when it was for the belt. That would have been the time to put back the 40-man Royal Rumble format.
Yeah.
True.
James, your thoughts on the Royal Rumble match?
3.5. You guys pretty much covered it for me. I think they fell off right towards the end. Everything else was pretty damn good up until that point. I don't think Del Rio needed it the most. I think he only had one rival by that point. And unless Mysterio was going to win the belt from Edge by that point, which, let's be real, was never going to happen, they really, honest to God, should have probably got... they really should have given it to Cena and actually fucking didn't fuck over the Nexus.
By the way, let's also talk about this. I know this is going way out there. Imagine Del Rio doesn't win this Rumble. From the river. Yeah,
from the river.
Would Edge have gotten his neck injury because technically he wouldn't have done that spear to blow his clay most likely. Like what? That's honestly a good conversation.
I think it was bound to happen anyway, and Edge has even said that.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It wouldn't have happened as bad as it did, though. I think there was a point there.
I just typed in Raw XXX to look up the card for tonight because I was going to bring it up, and I'm getting pages I didn't want to see.
Don't do it.
Yeah, Porto.
I should have known better.
Fucking yeah, Raw is XXX. Yes.
Yeah.
You know, I said it to Chris. It's real nice that they're finally giving China a tribute show tonight.
Ah no.
Yeah.
No.
But anyhow,
you go over the good thing about Albert the River. He always goes in hard and comes out wet when it comes to that.
No.
XXX tonight.
But anyhow, let me go over the career retrospectives of everybody in the Rumble match. We mentioned CM Punk at Survivor Series 2013. We mentioned Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam 2012. We mentioned... no, we haven't mentioned Justin Gabriel. Yeah, Justin Gabriel...
Go on after the VP. He went on to get released by the WWE. They really did nothing with him. They tried to do international airstrike with him and Tyson Kidd. That went nowhere. He then was basically a jobber for the entirety of the rest of his career, up until he was in NXT for like a short while. Triple H saw nothing in him, and Justin was pissed, reinvented himself as PJ Black, and he was on a fucking roll, and then he got fucking injured doing a Daredevil stunt. Because he was a daredevil at heart. So there you go.
Yeah, that sucks.
Actually, is he back now? I think PJ Black's back now, but he's not the same performer. I don't think. He was recently on Impact, like in the X Division title tournament and stuff. So there you go. Well, he's back, and make sure if you have not seen it, watch PJ Black versus AJ Styles. I think it happened in Ring of Honor or somewhere in the Indies. So go check that out.
Yeah, Zack Ryder. After this, would start the Z2 Island IC YouTube channel and get himself really over to the point where he ended up getting a U.S. title one out of it. But then obviously Vince didn't like the fact that he got himself over and buried him pretty much until the end of his run in WWE. He would have one final big push when he won the IC title at WrestleMania 32 for like a day, lost the belt, and then basically didn't really do much. He went to NXT and was the Hype Bros with Mojo Rawley, and then they brought that tag team up to the main roster. Got turned on, which benefited nobody. And then afterwards, him and Kurt Hawkins reformed their tag team in WWE. And then Zack Ryder was released during the COVID cuts. And
he actually won the tag team titles from FTR on the fucking pre-show.
Yeah, and then after a little bit, after the pandemic kind of ended, Zack Ryder signed with Impact under his real name, Matt Cardona, and he went on to be like one of the best heels outside of the WWE, pretty much. Really reinvented himself.
Became a top guy and won world titles all over the indies, pretty much.
Nearly almost saved the NWA. Like when he had that gimmick when he was going to save the NWA, he almost did, and then he got
and then
injured.
GCW fucked him over.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then now that it looks like he's a free agent, and he might possibly be making a return at the Rumble as of right now. So that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. So is Chris Masters said he was thinking of coming back too.
Yeah. William Regal. We've mentioned him before, I believe, in SummerSlam 2002 Retro. The only thing that's new is now he's back with WWE in a backstage role because he can't do anything on screen because he's got a new no complete clause by AEW. Yeah. Ted DiBiase Jr. would get basically this was the last thing he does really of any significance in the company. They just buried him after this. He turned into a babyface and started doing DiBiase parties.
DiBiase posse.
DiBiase posse.
The Mean Street posse.
That really could have got. That actually was getting over too, and then I think he got injured.
Yeah, he got injured, and then he retired from the business altogether, and now he just kind of chills and hangs out. So
he chilled, hanged out, and then his brother Brett almost fucked him and his dad over with a fucking Ponzi scheme.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's a thing.
Because everybody's got a price to pay.
Yeah.
For the pyramid schemes.
John Morrison, we mentioned before in the Royal Rumble 08 Retro.
Yeah,
Yoshitatsu, I actually forgot to look him up, so just give me a second. I believe he would... Pretty much this Rumble's his last hurrah. He gets jobbed out left and right after this.
And then he goes and back to New Japan. Has a really good match with Styles, but then ends in controversy because he didn't tuck his neck.
Do a move correctly?
Yeah, and took the Styles Slasher on, and then he was I don't think ever the same performer after that.
Yeah. Now he's in All Japan.
The whole situation's just a real pain in the neck.
Now he's in All Japan Pro Wrestling.
Oh shit! All Japan's still
there. You go.
Huh?
Husky Harris, we've mentioned before in Survivor Series 2013. This was actually Husky Harris's. He would have one more match under Husky Harris. It got punted by Randy Orton, got sent back down to developmental for being overweight.
He totaled that Ferrari engine of his.
Yep. We mentioned Chavo Guerrero in the Royal Rumble 08 Retro. We mentioned. Have we done a career retrospective? I'm pretty sure we've done one of Mocan. We have, right? I'm pretty sure we have.
Yes.
We have. Yeah. I'm pretty sure we have.
2013 of Survivor Series.
Oh, yeah, we did. JTG would, this was basically his last hurrah in the company. He would just get jobbed out left and right. After this, he turned heel randomly in this year, just out of nowhere for no reason, really. Yeah. And then he was released in 2014, even though he didn't make any appearances on TV. He formed his tag team with Shad Gaspard as Crime Time, and they were doing their thing in the Indies for a bit. And then the pandemic hit. Already wrestling.
And then Shad died.
Tragedy hit with Shad's passing of saving his son.
And now JTG wrestles himself in the Indies. And
as Jay, by the way, as Jay the God, and his recent biggest signing was in DPW recently against Bojack. If you haven't seen this match, go watch it. I don't know how nobody signs this fucking guy. Like, this dude should be in AEW along with Swerve. That's how good I think he's become.
Also, I don't know if he's signed, but he's worked NWA shows where he's teamed up with Dirty Dango.
All right, come on. Nobody gives a fuck about NWA nowadays.
You know what? I think Hit Row could use a little boost. Sign JTG and stick him with Hit Row. That'll give them the boost they need, in my opinion.
Yeah,
because he's the best worker.
I think JTG would be good for a Rumble comeback. He's obviously still on good terms with the company now that they brought him back. Yeah. Obviously, you wish it could have happened sooner under better circumstances, but he's talking with them again, which is good. I'd like to see him come back to the Rumble.
I'd like to see JTG if along with Carmelo Hayes join Hit Row if they're going to continue the Hit Row concept.
Hit Row needs something.
I honestly wouldn't mind if they just changed Hit Row to the new Crime Time, where you see them like doing those. They used to be the funniest shit, like the vignettes of them just
straight up robbing people.
That was
that was
pretty
funny.
good, yeah.
I think the biggest missed opportunity was JTG not being an opponent for Cody when he was doing his TNT title open challenge then.
I agree.
Michael
I mean, nothing
McGillicuddy,
better. Yo, 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 yo. Pop a 40 and check your rollies. It's crime time.
Michael McGillicuddy, we did it in Survivor Series 2013 retro. The only thing we'll say different is obviously after the new Nexus like folded and stuff, he would obviously become after a little bit, get a new gimmick at Nakota's Axel. Chris Masters, this was his last stick in the company. I believe he was released. I'm pretty sure I remember this.
Not too
because
long ago, because Punk mentioned that he worked his ass off to get better, and then fucking Laurinaitis fired him.
And then Chris Masters would do his in the Indies. He was in TNA for a period of time. I think he had 2 stints in TNA, one doing the GCW crossover, and then he was a tag team with Eli Drake in TNA. And then I don't think they won the belts or anything, but they were a tag team together.
It's just a fact of life.
Yeah. And then after he got released, he did some indie work, and he's recently right now in the NWA. He's been a 2-time national champion, and he's not really doing much in the NWA at the moment. I don't know why he's not, but he's not.
It's like fun. I actually remember, since we were talking about Eli Drake, I actually remember him back when he was on The Hero.
Oh,
the Rock's reality show. That lasted all the season.
Then David Otunga, we've done before, I believe. Because I'm pretty sure he was on a panel in Survivor Series 2013.
And he starred in the world classic hit movie, The Call.
Yeah. Where he has 2 lines in that whole movie. That's great. Right. Then Tyler Rex formed a tag team with Kurt Hawkins after this, and then retired from the business completely. They said it was something based about backstage politics with John Cena, I heard, but I'm not sure if that's true or not.
Yeah, there's never been confirmations to it.
And then he really didn't do all that much. I think he just wanted to be a dad with his daughters. Well, now he's not a dad. He came out last year and as trans, so he's not really a dad anymore. So that's all I'll say about that.
Oh wait, yeah, that's right. He or she he is now she, right? She changed.
Yes, he is now a she.
What's her name now?
Gabby.
Gotcha.
I actually remember that.
Vladimir Kozlov, we kind of already mentioned. He would get released later this year as well and stuff. We've done a career retrospective on R-Truth. The Great Khali, we did a career retrospective in Rumble 08. Mason Ryan, after the new Nexus then folded, they tried to run with him as a babyface, but I'm pretty sure he was kind of reckless. I remember he nearly injured like Dolph Ziggler in a match before.
He was doomed by being compared to Batista, so that was all they wrote for him.
Yeah, so he eventually was sent back down to developmental, but really didn't do anything significant. He was meant to be paired with like AW, if you remember, but then nothing really came of it.
Abraham Washington?
Yeah, he was gonna. I remember they did like a big faction about it, but he didn't really well with it.
The thing about Taz O'Neil is he like Kobe Bryant in the hotel room in Colorado. He's unstoppable.
And then after Mason Ryan got released, I think he asked for it. He did the Indies for a bit, and now he works in the circus. So good for Mason Ryan.
Oh yeah, he's like a big circus performer, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
What a clown! Ha! I'm funny. I'm kidding.
Booker T, we've done a career retrospective on him before. We already kind of mentioned what happened with him immediately after this match. We've done a career retrospective on John Cena and Hornswoggle. Tyson Kidd would randomly turn babyface with the International Airstrike Tag Team, and then that tag team ended randomly, and Tyson Kidd really didn't do all that much. And they also got injured. That's why he also in it.
And then he went to NXT, had a really great feud with Neville, a great Fatal 4-Way match on NXT Fatal 4-Way.
Yes, and then they started bringing him up to do dark matches for his inevitable main roster return. Unfortunately, that ended with.
Well, hold on. You're forgetting one key part because he had a great triple threat with Cesaro, him, and Dolph. Then they became a tag team, Cesaro and Tyson.
Then they became a tag team and they won the titles. I forgot.
Yeah,
that.
and then House Show happened, and Tyson Kidd got his neck injury off a muscle buster. And that was all she wrote.
Now he's an agent backstage. They did a thing where like he did some in-ring stuff where everyone thought he was going to have a comeback, but he hasn't had the comeback yet, obviously. So,
well, hey, Rumble could happen. Rumble could happen.
Yeah,
he's probably doing whatever Edge was doing to get his neck better, but only a long time's going to see if that'll heal.
Yeah, Heath Slater. After the club ended, he became like the one-man band. He did the thing where he got beat up by legends all the time and all that type of stuff. And then the 3 happened. And then when Jinder and Drew got released, he kind of did his thing on his own.
And then he don't forget Social Outcast then became a thing.
Yeah, and
then I think
he got kids.
Yeah, he got kids, and then him and Rhino became tag team champions, and then he jobbed again, and it was start and stop with Slater all the time, and then he eventually was done with WWE. He made like one appearance during the pandemic era because they did it as like a give him, and then he went to Impact like soon after that, and then he's been there ever since with Rhino. Actually just had a pretty damn good showing in a fatal 4-way match for the Impact Tag Team titles.
There you go.
Hard to kill, so there you go.
Then Kofi Kingston we mentioned before. We mentioned Jack Swagger before. We mentioned Ken Sheamus before. Obviously, this would be like Ken Sheamus' real last appearance as this gimmick because he went and did the U.S. title thing afterwards. Rey Mysterio we mentioned before. Wade Barrett. This was kind of like his last real hurrah. The Claw ended. He got the IC title. Lost it randomly. He had like one final shot at the main event when he feuded with Randy Orton, but then he got injured, so then he was like never pushed really in the main event again. There was rumors he was supposed to win the Money in the Bank match in 2012, but Barrett came out in interviews and said he was never going to win Money in the Bank in 2012. So I believe Barrett more than in that case. And then he just kind of struggled in the mid card. Every time it looked like he was going to get a big push, he would always get injured. So I think Vince was just done with him.
And then Barrett was in turn done with the company for a while.
Yeah,
it took a long while for them to finally
he left though. He left though. He did some non-wrestling roles in Defiant Wrestling, Lucha Underground. He was on the very last episode ever of Lucha Underground, and then he was right before he came back to WWE. He took Jim Cornette's place as commentator on Power. But then when the pandemic hit, there was no more NWA. And NWA, this is where I think NWA hurt themselves. They allowed all the wrestlers to sign contracts if need be. And Wade Barrett was one of the people that signed. He became a commentator, and he did it in NXT from 2020 up until October of 2022. And now he's on SmackDown.
And that was in replacement of Morrow, which, good luck.
Yeah. And then he's on SmackDown on commentary with Michael Cole.
Until Pat McAfee gets back, by the way.
Right.
Yeah. And then Dolph Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler we mentioned before. We haven't done one for Diesel, believe it or not. I thought we did, but we didn't. Diesel afterwards would come back as Kevin Nash, and they tried to get a feud going between him and CM Punk, but it just wasn't working.
Then they actually had a surprisingly good ladder match between him and Hunter.
And that was his last match in the company, and now he makes sporadic appearances. He's a 2-time Hall of Famer. He went in. Did he go in as Diesel or Kevin Nash? I really don't remember.
I went in as... I think he technically went in as both, like as a single performer.
I say that because I remember Scott Hall didn't go in by himself as Scott Hall. He went in as Razor Ramon.
I think technically when Scott Hall and Kevin Nash went in as themselves, they really went in as Diesel and Razor. Yeah. Then when they went in with the NWO, they were like, okay, now we're going in as Kevin Nash and Scott Hall.
Which makes a lot of sense, to be honest.
Because when you attach those names to a wrestling career, you think NWO.
Yeah. And then Drew McIntyre, we mentioned before. Have we done a career retrospective on Drew McIntyre? No, we did, because we did one in SmackDown 07. There's a reason we did it in SmackDown. Because McIntyre's actually enhancement talent on that show.
Yeah, there you go. So that
Alex
was dumb.
Riley. You thought Alex Riley was going to break out because after the Miz loses the title and everything, he turns face on the Miz.
He had a great momentum as a babyface, and then they fucking killed it.
There's rumors that like him and Cena had a thing backstage where he talked back to Cena or something, and Cena kind of cut his push, which is what happened. Which sucks,
he was still over too. Like when he was being jobbed on Superstars or getting wins on Superstars, he was still getting over. Like crazy good, big reaction still.
And then he moved on to be just a panelist, and he was doing commentary in NXT when it first started on the network. And then he had one final like tour, pretty much, as a wrestler until he was released in 2016.
Yeah, and it sucks because he really wanted to be back. He was even crying when he showed back up.
Yeah, I remember that great. Do you know that great promo he cuts like when he comes back in 2016? Like
yeah. Because he was going into a program with Kevin Owens, and then people did not want to see it. Like they just booed him, and he never was able to shake off that stank. It was also kind of bad timing too because they were doing the Sami Zayn Kevin Owens feud at that time too. So it was just kind of shitty timing also. So well, I mean, yeah, but they just never gave him a shout, and I think it's criminal.
He was released in 2016, and I think he pretty much retired from the business altogether.
I don't blame him.
He recently came out, I think, in 2021 and said that he struggled with bipolar disorder, which could explain why he had that altercation probably with John Cena all that time ago.
Yeah, well, I mean, still, fucking, I'm under the belief that you may have it all your life, but there are certain things that trigger certain things to get worse than they are. I should know because I have minor PTSD and shit was triggered for me for it to happen. Yeah. There was a lot of reasons. So I genuinely believe he only had bipolar disorder due to what the company put him through.
Yeah.
So you have to blame both parties on it. Like I'm sure Riley took some responsibility, but if Cena did what he did, he's got to take some of the fucking hit too. So
yeah,
the Big Show we've done a career retrospective on before. Ezekiel Jackson afterwards, after this match and stuff, would break out on his own as a babyface outside the core. Won the IC title from Wade Barrett. Didn't get over at all. Dropped the title. Didn't even drop it at SummerSlam. We dropped it on the SmackDown before SummerSlam, and then they depushed him, and then he was released. I believe in like 2013 or 2012.
Yeah, wasn't Barrett the one who won the belt from him?
No, it was Cody who won the belt.
That's
right. Jackson beat Barrett for the belt.
Yeah, because he was done with the fucking dashing. No, that was still during dashing. Or undashing.
No, it was yeah. And then after Jackson was released, he showed up in TNA as Big Rick, and then he was a big part of season 1 of Lucha Underground.
He was really good as Big Rick, by the way.
Yeah, and Lucha Underground you're talking about? Yeah, yes. He was really good in that role. It just sucks they never really knew I don't think they ever really knew what they wanted to do with him in Lucha Underground as Big Rick, because he was supposed to be the heavy for Dario Cueto. Then he randomly turned babyface, and then he randomly was aligned back with Dario Cueto. I feel like they just never really knew what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Maybe in Lucha Underground. Then he left Lucha Underground, which, because it's Lucha Underground, they just said he died off screen and that type of stuff, which is fine.
Pretty much, because that's what Lucha Underground does.
You leave, you die.
And then he did a couple more appearances in 2016 as an indie, and now he's a trainer in the promotion, which I hope he's doing good stuff training. He's a cool dude.
He always sounded like a very nice guy.
Yeah,
from what I heard.
I actually think I know like he didn't have the best talent in the world, but I actually think had he had the right training and stuff, and had they actually wanted to push him and stuff, he could have probably been. He could have done something at least, like a little bit of something.
Yeah, I agree.
Santino Marella we've mentioned before. Albert Del Rio we've mentioned before.
Yes.
Now we know he's from the.
Albert from the river. We know he's from the river now.
What is it called? Wet Albert from now on.
Wet. Hola, 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 hola. It's way Albert.
I'm gonna sing a song for you.
We mentioned Randy.
Nah. We're gonna have a wet time.
Oh, no.
We mentioned Randy Orton before. The only thing new we could say about Randy Orton is, I guess there's a lot of question whether he's coming back or not, because that back injury he has is really bad, I guess. So
Yeah, we'll see.
And then Kane, we've done a career retrospective on before.
So there we go. Yeah,
that's everybody. So that's the 2011 Rumble. Let's do letter grades for the Rumble. We're gonna start with Steve because he picked the show. So
as a whole, I kind of gotta give this Rumble. Like I said before, I think that 40-man always gives it that small boost. So we're gonna go C+.
Okay, so
this Rumble is, if it wasn't for the 40-man aspect of it, this Rumble would just be there.
Yeah,
it would just be another show.
So I would agree with you. However, there's we have a really good opener with Ziggler and Edge. You have the Rumble match is pretty good. There's just so much negativity on this show. The WWE title match is a slog. The Divas title match is a slog. And I could deal with that. The thing that's the biggest negative on the show, and I have to take it into effect, is the freaking commentary.
It's
the commentary.
Let's just call it what it is. If, and I think Owen and I are on the same wavelength on this, Steve. If you're watching this with people on pay-per-view in the house, it's a C+. Or live in the arena, it's a C+.
Yeah.
Because of the commentary, this shit gets a solid D. Fuck that goddamn commentary.
Actually,
it's
I'm not gonna.
Awful. For me, I'm giving it a D because it was so insufferably bad.
I'm gonna go C- because of the commentary. Just because,
all right.
Yeah.
I might be harsher on that, but it's like it was a problem all throughout the show, even in the good parts.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to rip my fucking ears out, and it's like I know that's like it was a sign of the times. Get over it, whatever. I'm sure people are gonna say in the commentary or on the comment section if they do watch this. Dude, I have zero desire to listen to a Vince McMahon produced commentary show because I know it's going to be bad. Like, again, that's why I have to give it two different grades. It'd be a C+ without the commentary, but because of the commentary, it's a D. I hate it.
Correct.
I hate it.
And it's
so
not,
much.
And like we talked about, it's not just Vince produced It's not just Vince produced commentary. It's heel Michael Cole on commentary, which makes it even worse too.
Yep.
But anyhow, that's pretty much the end of the show. We're gonna go around and do our plugs now. We're gonna start with Steve because he's got the least amount of stuff to plug. Isn't that great?
Mm-hmm.
I plugged the toaster in this morning when I wanted to cook some bread. That's about it.
There you go.
Did you have some water from the river that Alberto came from? That's a good question with the toast.
Yes, I did have some of Albert's water, and it tasted like domestic assault. That's all there is to say on that.
Fuck you. Fuck you, you fucking prick. Anyway. Continue.
And it's not my fault Albert did what he did.
Yeah, true.
It's Albert's fault.
It's Albert's
fault. Maybe it's the river's fault, though. Maybe it's something in the river that made him evil or something.
Yeah, maybe he was a good boy, and then the river got to him, and then, you know, maybe there was some cocaine down by the river. You never know.
Maybe it's the river of reincarnation.
It could be. All right, James, you got any plugs?
You have nothing else? Aren't you doing a thing on your YouTube?
The year in review is coming along. I don't have an exact date for when I'm going to start posting them. I'm hoping next month.
All right, fair enough. Well, hey,
yeah, I was going to say, until I have like an exact date, I don't plug it technically.
Fair enough.
Coming.
It's coming. Well, we don't know when, but it's coming. You know, just like Alberto, you know, came in the river. Anyway.
Yeah, you just go ask Paige about it.
Yeah, she didn't like it. What do we... okay, so Rumble, there's a couple things, actually. By the time you guys see this, tomorrow would have been Raw 30. I'm actually going to be watching Raw, and not only am I watching Raw, I'm doing live commentaries on the Jeff Meacham Network. Excuse me, with Noah Foster and J.J. Williams and Jeff Meacham. We're going to be doing coast-to-coast calls for 7 fucking hours, so go check that out. It'll be Noah and I first on the call for the Eastern time zone, then it's going to go into the Pacific Coast time with JJ and Jeff. So go check that out right here on the iCard above, since I can do iCards. Go check that out. Check out next episode of the Don DeMarco, which is tentatively in the plans, because the next Don DeMarco, we're going to go on a Tech 9 binge. We got a bunch of stuff lined up ready for talking about Tech 9. I think we're going to start off with his collab with Token. So it's going to be people that Tech 9 has collabed with. So we're starting with Token. We're going to be doing a bar breakdown for that. If you've never seen that show, go check that out right here as well. NASCAR Thunder 2004 Let's Play series is complete on Casey's channel. Go check that out. Also on Casey's channel coming up, Royal Rumble match marathon. So all the retros that we've done for the Rumble season, we're going to be doing a watch marathon for all of the Rumble matches only, not the events, just the matches. So these last 3 Rumbles that we've done, that we've posted, plus 1998, which that retro will be coming as soon as possible. So go check that out. Get ready for that one. We might be doing it earlier before 98 is posted. So be on the lookout for that within this coming week. And I don't know if there's anything else to plug other than Whammy Tooth Wrestling, which is already down in the description. Go check everything out. All that and more from FTW Productions. So there you go. Oh, Simply Predicting. I'll be on there for Royal Rumble predictions.
What is that?
On Noah's show, which just basically combines any fucking predictions league, and we just go on his show to predict. So if you guys
I'm saying, what day is it going to happen?
Thursday, I believe. Thursday, from what he told me. I'll get back to you on it.
As for my stuff, you can check out the other Retro Wrestling Review series on this channel for Royal Rumble ones if you want to get yourself excited for the Rumble. Casey and I did Royal Rumble 08, and James and I did Royal Rumble 2000. Those other Rumbles we've done 2003, 2007, 2005, 2001, and I think that's it. If you really want to get yourself excited for the Rumble, we plan on Thursday either doing 1998 or 2009. It will be one of those. Preferably 98, so that way Chris can get one. I'm fine with Sacrifice in 09 because I picked the retros a lot.
I'll tell you what too. Either way, we'll include 09 in the watch marathon, because I'm sure we're going to be watching more than one Rumble as well, other than the ones that we picked. But we're not going to be doing every Rumble, because that would be a slug.
That's why I asked you.
Yeah.
You can check out WWE Aftershock, where all these people. James might be on this week if he's watching Raw 30. He might actually contribute. He might actually do a full-on wrestling review.
While we're all here, does anybody have any predictions they want to get out for Raw 30?
For that, I'll just tell you, go watch WWE Aftershock.
And by the way, let me make this very clear. I've made this very clear. Unless it's on the Jeff Meacham Network, I am not reviewing Modern Wrestling if I can help it. I will be doing AEW Spark only this week, and that's it.
There you go.
So there you go.
AEW Spark, which is Noah's show / my show / Noah's show again. So there you go.
Yeah.
Fantasy booking series.
Wait, hold on. We got a cat. We got no. Steve is front and center. Show the kitty off. Hi.
James, you've made Mr. Bigglesworth angry. When Mr. Bigglesworth gets upset, people die.
Oh no!
Oh no!
This is Cat Steiner.
Cat Steiner, hey buddy.
Cat Steiner's climbing, and
what's his name? Actually,
looked like she got stuck, so I went and grabbed her.
What's her name?
Cotton.
Hi, Cotton. Hi.
This is Cotton.
Yeah, Cotton.
Hi,
Cotton is Cat Steiner.
Hi, buddy.
She loves cameras. She's an attention hog.
Yeah, aren't you so cute?
Yes. Cotton's prediction for Raw tonight:
Sami Zayn getting whacked.
Oh no, no!
Sami gonna get it.
Good girl. You're so cute. All right, cool. Sorry, I had to do that because I saw a cat. And
God.
I lost my mind. All right, continue on with your plug. Sorry.
And then CM Brothers and Owen the Talkinator for non-wrestling stuff and all that type of stuff. So
there we go. We got our plugs
Yeah.
done. Do we want to do our usual close and then we hand it off to Steve to say some words of wisdom before we end it?
So yeah, thank you guys for watching. And since we're recording this in this past, we will be talking to you guys in the future. And no one messed anything up, so that's good. So Steve, do you have any words of wisdom for us before we end this off?
Tie your shoes. That goes double for James. He knows why.
Ah, there it goes. Nice.
We doing all the classics, you heard
I
it.
got a police physical this Saturday.
Oh, you have
Send me
a...
good vibes.
Send good vibes. Okay, that as well. I literally just went to the outro, but went right back on there when you said that. So, good luck,
All right.
Steve Steiner, and we will
Thank
see
you.
y'all next time.
We doing all the classics, you heard it, then I grabbed it. Flow like Method Man, then run like I'm Rabbit. Soon as I hear the bass line, it be my FaceTime. Music's in my veins, so just in case I'm without my iPod or a media player, I'll check my...